Yes, it is our turn. It's been our turn for a long time. It just took us a little while to wake up to that fact. Welcome to Syncretism, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody. I hate even saying that, yeah. Kind of hosting here, just waiting for Tony. Kate of Gaia, of course, for those that haven't heard this show before. I know we've got lots of regular family members here, and always a joy to know that. So I'm just waiting for, like I said, just waiting for Tony so we can get going. I tagged Santo earlier, and I'm not sure what's going on. They might be in the middle of something. It doesn't really matter. I've kind of been known to talk for an hour or two anyway, so that's not an issue at all. Especially hot on the heels of yesterday. So, oh, Tony just tagged, can't get in. It's doing it again, no problem. I gotcha. All right, let me just pull Tony in here, and there we go. Did it go? Oh, the joys of live radio. Just the intensity and unbelievableness of it all. I just made that one up. It's pretty cool. Anyway, and I know we have Carol in the call as well. So I'm going to have a bit of a round robin tonight. Yeah, Facebook's a lot of fun. Absolutely. So I'll just crack Carol's mic open. And, oh, I did hit it. And I think we're going to go all over the map if I don't hear from... that's kind of the objective here, if I don't hear from Santo. No harm, no foul. I know he's got his hands full where he is. So he had planned on being here. That I do know. So he's just not been showing online for a couple of days. And I know he had a lot of different people to meet, greet, and, of course, different seminars that he was doing. And so I don't know if one of them is tonight. Doesn't matter. Either way, we got the helm, and we love Santo anyway. Tony, have I got you there?
Yep, you've got me, Kate. I'm here loud and clear. For some reason, I had the same issue again with Facebook. It wouldn't let... It keeps telling me I'm not logged in. So I've got to put my information, but the point is I am logged in. So I don't know why it's telling me that.
I'll tell you what I've had to do in the past with that is I've just refreshed the page because it's done that to me a few times where I've logged in and then I have to log in again. So yeah, it can be a bit tedious, but Facebook is just a lot of fun to begin with anyway. But there you go. Oh, and speaking of Facebook, just a little shout out to Jared. Got your note to not post any more of the shows in the no ID room. Unfortunately, if there, I will say there's a delete button. Whatever, no harm, no foul. But here's the issue: when I'm in a group, if someone has an issue with any posting, which I never understood why it's a post, just delete the damn thing. Not like you can offend me, but I have to leave the group because I don't want to make the mistake of re-offending anyone. So there you go. So the group No ID won't be getting any posts from me because I'm not there. So there you go. You spoke for all in the room. I'm not sure how many were there, but there was a few. So I just let people know that, and always remind people that there is a delete button. We've had this talk before, some people taking, and it's not directed at Jared. No, not at all. But here's the thing, guys. And this is a beautiful example of what I speak of. You got to really stop and ask yourself how important an issue is to you. I mean, how incredibly important something is to you, where you feel the need to somehow, don't post these here. Well, just delete the damn things. Or don't invite me to your groups. So, sorry, that's kind of what I do. I'm radio, I promo, and, You know what it's all about, eh, Tom? Did I lose you?
You did, actually, yeah. It went quiet. I wasn't sure whether you dropped off or what.
No, I'm here. Always fun on radio with Kate, Tony, Santo, huh? Anyway, just actually keeping that in mind. Just going to keep my eyes open for Santo in case he shows up. So, but yeah, guys. I mean, these are beautiful ways of having a look at something and measuring them for what they really are and what they're really worth. And where some people get really, really defensive of their particular subject matter. We kind of take it everywhere anyway, so I guess awakening isn't part of anyone else's truth, so no harm, no foul. If you want to stay focused on one thing or the other, that's great. One of the things I will say, if you're walking around, like it's one of the notes that I got there a while back, if you're going to walk around with any form of ID claiming to be awake, then I'm just going to, if you don't know who you are yet, and I've said it many, many times, there are people that need to do it just because they're awake and they get it, and then there are others who, well, we just don't want to get hassled. Well, then just go back to being suckling on the teat of the whore. That's what it takes, Just you choose, right? Some people are in positions that is nigh on impossible, and I don't expect them, especially those that are, have worked many years of their lives and are getting a bare sustenance from, what you want to call as a government. Never mind the the money that was created off the bond. Of course, I just want to give you a sniveling tidbit from it, and you're supposed to feel grateful. I don't even know where I'm going here, but I'll tell you, we're going to get into this pretty deep and hardcore tonight. Santo doesn't show up because.
Well, can I make a comment on that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For the simple reason, I mean, all you guys that have worked all your lives and that you've built up your nest egg and you're going to be all right, Jack, and all the rest of it. If you're still using the name and you're still using mortgages and you still, you think, I've paid for my house, it's fine. I'm going to be just dandy. You completely got your head up your arse. The government own the name. That means they own the bank account.
And the house, and the car, and everything. You own nothing if it's registered.
I only just started.
Oh, I know, eh?
I was going to work through it, but yeah, again, all of that stuff that you think you've got tucked away in the bank is going to vanish, and it's going to vanish overnight because you gave it back to them. Apart from the fact that, you're still going under the corporation, you've even gifted them the money in the first place and put it into that account. So when the banks do shut the doors and you go, well, hang on, you can't shut your doors, my money's in there. No, it's not. It's gone. And then they'll turn around and come after the houses, because the plan is to put the rates up to such a point when they've collapsed the economy, you're not going to be able to pay for them because the money's going to be worthless anyway.
Well, the whole
house.
Yeah, the whole plan was foreclosure killing anyway. I experienced that. It's they don't care if you're paying or not. They want the foreclosure because of the insurance policies that are attached to it. I can even get Carol to chime in on this with Bankers Manifesto, 1892, I believe. Carol, if you want to jump in and just, maybe share a few tidbits if you have that available, that would be awesome.
Well, I come at, I agree with you and Tony and everybody that you usually present on the show, but I have a bit of a problem with trying to force people into accepting it. Well, you can't, honey. That you have to present it and let people make peace with it themselves, and that's what I do on my calls is I try to educate the people, but I say, you don't have to believe me. I'm putting it out. This is what I know, and this is what I've learned in my lifetime, and I'm sharing it with you. But if it's not resonating with you, well, I accept that too, because I don't have to be right. And that's kind of where I come from, and I just encourage people to listen to these calls and see what you can take from them, because Kate and Tony are really putting out some very important, good information, but I understand it takes a while to make peace with it. Like I said on the call, it took me 10 years, honey, to become resonant with reincarnation, you see.
Okay,
I wasn't an easy sell.
Okay, Carol, just to let you know, this is kind of why I skirted the issue a little bit, because it can, and I had you in mind when I was speaking, by the way. This is not something that, and we've said this many, many times, and I'm just regurgitating the same stuff over and over. This is all about doing what you awaken to do. Mm-hmm. The only thing that's ever going to stop anyone is whether they can confront the truth or not. We just hand it out. This is what is. Let's take it from the top.
We shouldn't make them feel guilty if it's not their truth at that
time.
Oh,
no, that's fine.
That's the thing I have an issue with, because it took me so long, honey, to
Carol,
come out of the box.
it's not about making people feel guilty. It's not about that at all.
Sometimes it does, honey.
Well, I'm sure it does. Hey,
I don't want to offend you because I love you to pieces.
You can't, honey. Honestly, you can't.
I just wish maybe there might be a softer way of
there isn't.
Of putting the information out there and letting people do what they're going to do with it.
Oh, absolutely. We'll put it out there, and again, people, this is the pulling up the big boy pants or the big girl skirt, and taking it for what it is. If you can handle it, great. If you can't, great.
Yeah.
I'm not. This is the responsibility that has to be borne upon each shoulders. Not. See, here's the thing, and you know this. You've been through this. How many people have turned to you looking for help with this, that, and absolutely.
Many people. And I'll give them what they ask for, and I'll tell them, I don't hold anything back. I'm very honest with people, and I say, look, this is where I'm at with it, and that may not resonate with you right now, but just try to be neutral about it and think about it. Try not to diss it, try to listen to it and take it in and understand there might be some things you need to learn, but maybe it's not your time to learn it, Maybe you have to go through some more experience first.
But this is the point. All we're telling you is the information, the facts that are facts.
Right.
That we have actually checked, and we do actually know what we're talking about.
Exactly.
There's actual evidence out there, and it's been done and proven, and it's absolutely not in question. That they're going to go through your safety deposit boxes. This is the governments have authorized the banks to empty out the safety deposit boxes when they're
Honey, they've done that. They've done that for years. I told my family this many, many years ago. Do not keep anything in a safety deposit box. It's not a safety deposit box at all. It belongs to the bank. It always has. It always will. It's a dangerous place to keep anything important. You're going to have to find another place to put your important stuff and your valuable stuff because the banks and the government are not your friends. They will not protect you in any way, shape, or form. And I've been preaching this to my family for years. And you guys think I'm new at this. I'm not.
Oh, no, not at all.
You keep kind of taking pot shots at me, and I want you guys to know. Yeah, really.
Carol, no, not at all. Sorry, I'm going to correct you on that, Carol. I'm not taking shots at you at all. If you're feeling that, then maybe change your perspective. This is not taking shots at all, huh?
No, I'm not. I didn't mean it that drastically, but what I'm saying is I get the feeling that you and Tony think I'm newbie at this. I've been around this all my life.
No.
There's a lot that I've taught my phone family that you guys haven't even touched upon yet,
Absolutely.
And, I'm an old-timer at this, you guys. I'm an old lady, and I've been around it all my life. And so a lot of, just everything you guys have presented on your phone are things that we've dealt with already. And these safety deposit boxes, Tony is absolutely right, everybody in the audience. You need to know. Get your things out of the doggone safety deposit boxes. They will steal it from you, period.
Get out of the banks. Get out of the banks completely.
It didn't depend on a brand new executive order or anything else that they've done recently. That's been for years that they've done this kind of stuff.
Okay, let me give you a scenario, Carol, and really, actually, if you're feeling any sort of ridge on this at all, I'm going to ask you to not, because that is not even remotely close to any intention that I'm putting out. Okay, and same with Tony, not at all. This is why you're in the call, hon. This is why we like to have you, because you've got wisdom. So this is not about who knows what. No, please leave that for the canine. Okay, that's nothing to do with what we're talking about. Here it is in a nutshell for everyone. Now this is the big pill. I'm going to give you the big pill. You can take off as much of it as you want, whatever you can swallow. That's your call. But here it is in a nutshell. Right? The banks are the reason this planet is messed up. And I'll give you a perfect scenario. You have the Occupy Wall Street, right? And I remember seeing a clip regarding, donations that were coming in, and where were they putting these donations? In the friggin' bank they were protesting. And here we have people that are out protesting against banks and everything else, and they get a check, and where do they go? That's a hypocrite. They take that to the same check to the same bank they were protesting to cash it. They're still dealing with the devil. Here's the thing. If you make a choice, and this is it, depending on what level of choice you wish to make, that's yours. I don't care if you understand that it's all corrupt, and of course it is. And if you want to, leave it incrementally, of course, there's time to adjust. Me, I'm a little bit more drastic. I saw a fraud, and I said, I'm done. right? That's my commitment to truth. And that doesn't have to be everyone's. But I'm telling you this right now, though. The longer we take, nursing people along and holding their hand and going, it'll be okay, baby, when we treat it with kid gloves like that, it all it does is it remanifests the same shit that we've been dealing with for centuries. The banks are out to grab everything. It comes right through the governments. You don't own the name you think you are. That was given away by your parents. And what was made on that was a debt obligation called a bond, typically $1 million, a debt obligation. So that's the skin of your back. Shylock, that's the pound of flesh nearest the heart. Okay, so that's a guarantee. And if we use that name at all, I've said this many times, you're committing fraud. It ain't yours. It's copyrighted by the Crown. And I don't care if you're in the U.S. or not, it's still copyrighted by the Crown. Everything goes back to Rome eventually, but there's your three main centers, Vatican, London, D.C., right? And of course, all corporations are now registered through Washington Direct Current. That's because that's the military wing to make sure that everyone gets what they need and held in place, right? Exactly, and we're dealing with ley lines here too. But understand this very basic fact. Anything that you have ever purchased with that name doesn't belong to you. I know that's a tough pill to swallow, but it doesn't. And you can defend it all day long because you're going to be defending it in universal fraud. It's getting this information to you when you realize that so you can get yourself out of that with intent. This is not about shifting every gear and doing what I did. No. I'm just an example of putting that intent into action, but you need to change the intent.
Can I share some things that might be constructive for the listeners that I do to try to extract as much of my business out of their hands as possible and give them something to latch on to other than just the theory of it all? What I do, folks, I'm on Social Security, and I have to have that check to live. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't be able to feed myself or pay my bills or whatever. I'd be on the street, and I'd be dead in a heartbeat, okay? So I have to stay within the system to a certain degree. But here's what I do. Every month that my check is put into my bank account, and I have a bank account because I have to have one to function, I have my caregiver draw everything out that I need for bills and everything else for that month, and I use postal money orders. Now, I'm not an aficionado of the post office. They are as corrupt as anybody else is, and they're not only that, they don't have the brains to blow themselves up with. They don't manage the post office well, and that's why they're in financial trouble. They're idiots, as far as I'm concerned, okay? And I'll just say it like that. I'm pretty upfront about stuff. So anyway, I understand through my white knight connection that the postal money orders are pretty safe. They're probably one of the safest instruments we can use at this time. And so I pay all my bills with postal money orders so my money can't be tracked, and I'm not writing a check. Do not write checks on your frickin' checking account. Every time you do, you drive the national debt up. And don't use a credit card. Use the debit card portion of your card, because every time you sign a ticket at Walmart or anywhere else that you shop and sign for credit, you're driving the national debt up. And not only that, they can track you. So, folks, quit signing your name and don't use checks. Take a good magnifying glass, take your checks out, and take a look at the signature line. You will see that that is not a solid black line where you write your signature on those frickin' checks. It says something like signature assigned. And you can see it with a very good magnifying glass. Now, I know somebody that bought one for $1 at the 99-cent store, and that one didn't have the power to see it. So it's
all microprint. And here
microprint.
Here, just to give you a little backup on that. Do you know what it makes you when you sign a check?
Well, go ahead and tell, because I don't know how to put it in words, honey. It does a lot of things.
It makes you the underwriter of the debt. And they have to get you to underwrite all their debts.
Well, it ties back to the bond that you talk about. And to drive the national debt up. And they use all of this money. This is the most sophisticated, corrupt situation that they have put everybody in worldwide. That's why there is a worldwide shift coming, folks.
Here's a bit of advice for the postal money orders, by the way. If you must use postal money orders, but you are actually doing transactions within the highest court on the planet, the UPU, Universal Postal Union, which is headed by the Pope, based out of Hague, Brussels. the World Court, by the way, and the Pope is the highest ranking official in the Postal Union. Done tons of research on postal. It's actually a critical. I mean, I had to tie the bond to the UPU, and effectively what you are is a walking postal worker, delivering, killing yourself, and it's stuck to your ass. That goes back to the invocation of the cross. But you must use postal money orders. Patrice gave a beautiful example of it at how to completely destroy that. Because here's the thing: when you sign something, that's where the money is created. They need the living power, and this is the one concept people have a hard time getting. What you're doing is you're putting your intent. And again, guys, this is 4D, 5D stuff here. This is not, get out of the meat stick thinking. You guys are trapped in it. You need to understand the power of what and who you are. If you must use them, and if you must sign something, do it in red. That's blood, okay, and box it. At least box the signature. Because what it does is it kills the postal money order dead. You're actually taking money out of the IMF when you do that. And I can go back to an episode. Hey, Tony, when was that? Back in November, I think? October, November?
Oh, crikey, I've done too many shows to remember.
Yeah, well, Patrice gave us a play-by-play of what she did and what she went through it. And what ended up happening, because she had boxed the signature, she had completely destroyed that document in terms of being able to remonetize it, which is what they do. Okay, and same with checks. You sign a check, they're going to take that signature. Look up UCC 3-419, accommodating party, hypothecation. Because the minute you sign something, because you're part of the UCC, you're in their system, they can take that signature and monetize it all they want. That's how you have thousands upon thousands of trillions of dollars in derivatives. That's what they're doing it with. So we got to stop doing that, or at least stopping the process. And what happened? I'm going to say what happened with Patrice when she boxed it. The people that worked in the post office had to, and she stood her ground. They had to ante up with their own money to cover a $300 postal order. I'm going to dig this episode up. You need to hear this story.
I'm glad you shared that because I didn't know that part of it. Thank you very much, Kate. That's wonderful news. Yeah, we need to give people the tools to start pulling themselves out of this muck and mire, and we don't have enough information on how to do it. We know the system is corrupt, but what we need is working information on how to do that for ourselves.
That's all I've been doing, hon.
Well, baby steps. What I just
these are baby steps, and we've talked about these for many months. Mm-hmm. And this goes right back to Peter. Private.me. I mean, a lot of the information that he's using, got it through me. And it works. And he's got his own. He's a smart man. Again, it's about working it together, right? But what ended up happening was, just to finish this story off, to show you the power of boxing it, she wanted to, she asked the girls behind the counter, are you not going to validate that? They have a validation machine that cancels it, right? And she said, the girl went over to put it in the machine, and one of the other tellers looked at her and, that little eyes down and she said, no, don't do it. You can't do it. And she basically went up to the machine and said, yeah, it's valid. You know where the postal money order ended up? I'll tell you where it ended up. It ended up in the garbage because if they had entered that into the system, it would have put a $300 debt, pure debt, against the zero balance of the IMF, and it would have killed the IMF. That's what I'm talking about. You see, they have to run zeros. It's all about 0 point, right? So.
And again, it's not just checks. I mean, anything from a parking ticket to a speeding ticket. You box it every single time.
Yeah, so
just draw a rectangular box around the signature, huh?
Yeah,
when you sign anything.
It lifts it off the page. They can't use it.
Thank you for that bit of information. That's brand new to me, and I really appreciate you for that.
No worries. And never sign on a line that has an X marked on it. Because what the X means is without consideration, which means they can take it and, X marks the spot, right? Means they can take it and reapothecate it. And, anyone that thinks, this is the thing about mortgages and whatever, and anything you do with the banks that require and that's all about signatures. If people stop signing everything tomorrow, the system will collapse. Because that's where they get all the power from. It's only when we sign stuff that joinders us to their physical realm, because we're taking our spiritual intent, using a name that doesn't belong to us, which in my case, sorry, don't have one of those anymore, and putting that intent down on spiritual, your spiritual intent down on physical paper. Defy psi cull. That's how they're culling you. And I've talked about this. I mean, Tony, I'm sure is sick of hearing it. How many times have I said this?
Oh, I don't know, Kate. We've been going on about it for years. Flipping years, it seems like.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, these are very, very easy tools, and people just have to be mindful. If you sign something, you empower it. That's what a signature is. Look at the word sig, signet, sigil, signet ring, cygnus, the constellation, spiritual power, divine feminine. It all ties together very neatly. It is such a beautifully woven fabric. I'm just trying to show you how to read the patterns on it.
Sign of nature.
It is.
You guys are brilliant. I'm so glad I found you, and I'm so eager to learn from you. And of course, the short time I've been with you, mostly it's been about, I haven't heard any of this other nitty-gritty little stuff that you're talking about now, and so I guess I need to just shut up and listen.
No, you don't need to shut up and listen. You need to know that we're here to help.
You guys are wonderful. I love you.
We do
really
this together.
Thank you for that.
There's no competing here. The thing is, if I see someone standing on the railway tracks, I'm going to push them. I'm going to push them real hard to get them off the tracks. That's because I give a shit. And if people, for whatever reason, can't handle it, well, I'm sorry. Next time I'll just let you get smoked. And I'll be perfectly frank about it. I'm always honest. There have been people that came to me asking about this, that, and the other, and decided to do it their own way, and they got smoked. Fine. Here's the thing: you don't know, don't ask me.
Well, the information you're putting out is very, very valid. I recognize some of the markers that I know about, and it's obvious you know a lot more than I do. It's obvious that way. It's just that I
have a different perspective on it, hon. It's not about knowing more or less. It's about here's a different perspective on the very same thing that you've all been looking at, because we've all looked at the same thing. Yeah? Everyone's went and got a mortgage at some point. Everyone, I'm talking ones that are old enough and whatever. And, marriage licenses and all the rest of it. We've all gone through that. I'm just offering a very different perspective on it, on the other side of the looking glass. Here, I have one philosophy, and it's a very easy one. If you want to catch a serial killer, you got to think like one. You don't have to be one, but you have to think like one.
Absolutely. That's what people don't understand. They think, "Oh, I don't want to touch that. That's not who I am," and whatever. Yeah, if you want to get in there and learn how these people are, you have to learn how they think and not what they do. I agree with that.
I had to voluntarily confront the evil I never wanted to be a part of to find it. And of course, a lot of it came and slapped me right in the face, and that's fine. I knew, regardless of the time, that I knew what was coming. And I was working my hardest, and I ran it alone for the most part. And certainly after everything went down, boy, did I find out how alone I really was. But people, this is the thing, and this is about breaking the Babylon whore program. You see, because what it does is it makes everyone feel that they have to be dependent on it some way or some other. Here's a scenario, right? This is why these guys don't want the system to come down, not at all. That makes all their money worthless. They're feeding you a load of shit. Oh, did I get bumped or did Tony get bumped?
No, you're here, honey.
Okay. That sounded like Tony. Somebody. Okay, I think Tony got dropped. But yeah, see, they do it just when I'm pulling out the real ammo here. Where was I?
About how alone you were and how they took you down and so forth. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the gimmies. And what people end up doing is, we're talking about the system collapse, right? They don't want it to collapse. When they're throwing stuff in your face, guys, that's exactly what they don't want. Mirror it. The fear porn. Mirror it. Mirror everything. Put everything in the mirror. We're living in Oz here, guys. and I can't be more blatantly honest about it. I really can't. If a bank says invest in A, you'd be damn sure going to Z or Z, okay? Because they're not going to tell you. Here, let's talk about the average, money-driven individual. They find a gold mine somewhere. You think they're going to come down and start blabbing everybody about it? No. They're not going to tell you where the gold mine is. And they're going to be very careful about guarding that secret, and then they're going to hide it in the obvious places so that you think you're looking for something you can't find, but it's right there in front of your eyes. And that's how I changed my perspective on it. I looked at it, okay, well, what's really obvious? Well, they're talking about, the system collapsing and all the rest. Exactly what they don't want. I want that puppy down. Because only until it comes down are we going to be free. Because that's the only thing that's enslaving all of us. It's what all the bonds are connected to. It's what all the pain and suffering. It's the military-industrial complex funding. It's the bank funding. It's all these guys that, and girls that are traveling around in absolute style on your backs. As soon as the money is worthless, which it needs to be, because it is, it's dead. Actually, it needs to be destroyed. The root of all evil is money, and people can defend money all day long. And I'm not going to buy any of it. Sorry. Not a damn thing. Because all money is an obligation. You want something, you're obligated to use someone else's skin, i.e. money, off the bonds, to buy it. We have to change our intent now. It's not my intent to harm anyone. It is only my intent to survive. That's it. And the universe will either let me survive or not. I'm at a point, I'm at peace now where either way, I don't give a shit. Because I'm doing what I was supposed to do. If people get it, great. And if they don't, well, no harm, no foul. No obligation, guys. I am not your responsibility. You are not my keeper, nor am I yours. And this is, for me, this is where people need to get to. They need to get to the fact that they can stand up alone and take care of themselves without needing, they call it nanny state. No, it's daddy state. It's patriarchal. They love their penises, remember? If you want to reach out and, it's like these people that bitch and complain about this statute and this law and that, well, they're going to do this. Well, duh. What do you expect? You hired, if you voted in a bunch of lying through their teeth manipulators. You're dealing with the devil. Better the devil you know than the one you don't. No, better the devil I slaughter. And that's where I live. I don't do any deals. Truth is the only deal I made, and that's it. It's a pretty straightforward run for me, And one of these nights, I'm just going to do a show, and I'm going to get people to call in and defend their positions. Take this aside, Carol. This is a very specific thing that I'm talking about here, where they can call in and start talking to me about, a court case or whatever. And if you want to.
Well, we lost Kate. Tony, are you back?
Yeah, he's.
What?
Yes, I saw.
Okay, we lost you, honey. You said something about people coming on and defending their case, and then you got bumped off.
Or trying to defend a position in. What's coming in? Okay, yeah. I'll probably bring Trace in a little bit here too as well. I got to try to pull Tony back in. Anyway, people can and I will invite them. Let's play defend your position with Kate, and I'll be the nastiest type of system judge you will ever meet. Why? Because I had to learn to think like them in order to trump them.
Is there any way that you could maybe not be nasty about it, but kind of give them a little help on how they could change it little by little so they could get out of it? I mean,
Carol,
we can't change it overnight ourselves like you did, honey.
I did. Oh, Carol, you're still missing it, hon. This is all I do. This is all I do. I repeat myself over. I've been on the air for over 5 years talking about the same things. Talking about all of these same things. It's like, that's why I started the show off with, yesterday's post. I got tagged just before the show tonight from Jared in No ID. And there, of all the rooms, and I looked at this, of all the rooms to not want this information. And all that told me was, well, there's still a lot of people out there with their heads up their asses, especially those that claim to have a room says no ID, and right below it says, we only carry the ID we need to. Change the title of your room. Okay, change the title, because if you're claiming to be no ID and then you're saying that you're using it, you're a hypocrite. And these are the shows you need to listen to. See, there's very few things in this world that sicken me. One of them is hypocrite. Okay?
Very much agreed. Yes, absolutely.
If you're going to stand there with a torch and the banners and all the rest of it claiming to be this, that, and the other, well, you better be this, that, and the other. Because that's one of the things that I do take very humble pride in, of being on the air, is I actually stand in every word I say.
Well, yeah, but Kate, my big issue is that these things are being taken care of behind the scenes, and there is no way that we as individuals, I mean, there's not very many people that have your kind of a grasp on things and your intelligence level, okay? And
there's a lot.
And wait a minute. Let me just continue here, because you are a very wonderful example of what we can be. But I don't feel like I can go out and do exactly what you have done, and I don't understand a lot of what you understand. That's obvious. I know a lot, but I don't know as much. What?
I've said that many times. I've said, well, hey, quote me. You can go back through, if you go back through every episode, you probably count at least a couple of hundred times I've said this. I don't expect anyone to do what I did.
Yeah, but then you turn around and say, if you don't believe it,
oh, Carol,
you put everybody down.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
For not being able to do it. Yeah, you are, honey.
No, it's baby steps I'm talking about. Do you want the truth or not? Do you want me to candy coat this?
No, I don't want candy
coating. People are dying,
I just want I want a protocol on how to start at a level that we can start with and start working our way through that, because people can't jump from one side to the other just like that. It can't be done for everybody. You did it, evidently, and you've got the protocol. But I think you need to, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it that way. I think it would be nice if we could bring people along with some baby steps to help them make these changes. Well, see, you can't eat an elephant in one bite. You've got to give people a little bit here and a little bit there. And I understand. I'm fighting the same battle with my family. We're getting so many new people now, because I've been on other shows and everything, and then yours, my goodness. And so it's bringing a lot of new people in that don't have the information we've talked about for almost 9 years. And I have to remember, somebody called me yesterday and said, well, some of this information, or no, it was today, and they said some of the information we had last night is something we all know. And I said, yeah, but, we have other people that don't know these things, and we have to be careful to bring them along with us, too. And so not only do we need to excel with our information to a higher level, but we need to bring it along at a lower level, too.
All I've talked about, Carol, for years is baby steps.
Okay. Yeah, I'm one of the new ones, honey, that needs
help.
Yeah,
I know. Yeah, again, you've only been in our realm for a couple of months now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You should hear some of the shows before that.
Well, I've tried to pull. By the way, whoever posts them on YouTube, I am so grateful, because I can go to YouTube and pull up these shows and listen to them. Yours and Tony's and Santo's, and I'm so grateful for that. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. I'm glad, and thank you for actually taking the time to look at them. And this is and has been the message all along. One, okay, let me be unequivocally clear here. One, I do not expect anyone to do what I did. Fact. Said it again. Two, what I do expect people to do is something. Three, I have given countless little things that people can do. Boxing signatures, messing with the system, stop using debit cards, stop using credit cards, stop writing checks if you can, get it down to bare bones minimum, empty your bank accounts. Keep the banks empty, because they have no cash to work with. This is the point. And the thing is, I'll give you an example. One guy went in to try to pay his mortgage. I think it was $1,400 in cash. There's a YouTube video on it, and the Bank of America would not take his cash. Do you know why? I'll tell you why. Most people don't know this. They think cash is actually worth something. It's debt. Words right out of, and this was a friend of mine. Boy, she's going to be surprised when she gets some information I'm in her way. But anyway, bank manager. Loved my music too, by the way. That's how we met. And, she tweaked numbers and everything to make sure I could get a mortgage. Absolutely. But one of the questions I asked her one day, I said, Nora. Nora Detler, Bank of Montreal, Preston, Ontario. Not there anymore. She's retired now. But I asked her, I said, Nora, if I put cash in the bank, it goes on the liability side. It's a debt, right? And a loan, if I get a loan or something, that's an asset, yes? Because I already done all the homework on this. And she said, yeah, that's actually right. Everything in the bank is absolutely backwards to what goes on in the real world. Mirror, mirror. Right out of the horse's mouth. Well, I won't say that because she's, as a friend, lovely. You know, doesn't know, or she might, who knows, right? Anyway, regardless. But there's the point, guys. They wouldn't take the cash because banks hate accepting debt. The minute we stop taking out obligations against our fellow men called loans, because they're just getting written off of the bonds, that's where the money is created, and then the signatures. That's what empowers it. All right? You see, we are being trapped by our own greed. Myself included, I just stepped away from it. And I will tell you, it has been damn near impossible to survive. Everything I had, everything I had saved up, everything is gone. It's all gone. But you don't hear me screaming every night, I need this. No. If I do need something, I will ask. And, you know, if it comes, great. If it doesn't, it wasn't meant to. This is the peace I have now. If people don't care enough, they'll show it. And if they do care enough, they'll show it. And here's the joy of it. If they do care enough, then I know it's a gift. There's no obligation attached to it. It's all about intent. People want to send something. Well, I'm going to make sure your intent's right first, because I don't want your obligation. And I know, based on the stuff that came in to help out with the car and Tony and all the rest of it, that was all pure love, energy. That's all I felt. You know. But again, you know, that's, yeah, I am actually alive by the grace of a friend. I got a place on a floor to sleep, and I got internet. That's all I care about. Hey, I was in a tent. All I cared about, I had internet. I could talk. I could get word out. Right?
By the way, honey, would you please get those addresses for you and Swan and Tony to Tracy? Tracy can call me and give them to me.
Oh, yeah, I can do. Actually, Tracy's hanging about here, so I should bring her in and say, where the hell is Tony? One sec. I'm going to try grabbing Tony again.
You bet. It's
ringing. You know, anyway, don't my hard-nosed approach as anything to lay guilt on people's, lay it at their feet. No, we're all guilty anyway, me included. Right?
Well, we've been programmed by the churches in that for years and years, all of our lives.
Absolutely, me too.
Yeah, I know. And
no different. There's no difference.
You indicated yesterday that you were brought up in the Catholic Church, which that's.
No, I wasn't actually. I was brought up in Presbyterian. Actually.
Oh, okay. I thought you made reference to the fact that you were.
I worked for I worked for a separate school board. I worked for a Catholic school board.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Boy, you want to see corruption.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll pull Tracy and Tony. I don't know what's up with Tony. He might be rebooting or something. So, anyway, he can rejoin the call at any time here. But anyway, you know, it's about baby steps, and I have been saying the same things over and over. And every day, it's like this is all I do, and I'm trying to, you know, like the essay I put together yesterday. I'm trying to put things together to show people how to fish. But everyone is still too interested in going, well, Kate, give me a fish, will ya? I'm hungry. You know what? I'll be very blunt about this, guys. Fuck you. I'm starving. You know?
I love the way you talk, Kate.
You know? Hey, Trace, how are you doing? Your mic sounds like garbage, by the way. You know, again, this is not an easy message to share with anyone. It's not. And I'm trying to be as nice and as gentle about it as I can. But here's the thing. You know what woke up Dorothy, Toto, and the Cowardly Lion in the poppy field?
Symbolically, when the curtain was pulled back.
No. Remember when they were all passed out in the poppy field? Because the witch tried to get them to sleep? And this is where we're at. Most people are in the poppy field. And the only thing that's going to wake the people up is this. Right? They filled their bucket drip by drip. I've just grabbed that bucket of water, which water is symbolic, metaphorically, for truth, right? The only thing that woke those three up, the Tin Man, he was, and the Scarecrow, they weren't affected by falling asleep because they were mindless and heartless. The only thing that woke them up was snow, the cold, hard truth, right? Water. What is snow? It's water. It's cold, hard truth, and that's the only thing I offer here.
And
right?
Kate?
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
sister.
You sound a lot. There, that's better. Better sounding mic now.
Is it? Well, I just adjusted it. I should get a new one. But anyway, it's, I'm hearing something with both of you beautiful women that I love. And, I've been listening all the way, like we go through our stuff, we all do. And I'm hearing a bit of harping, okay? I just want to help Carol out. It's just a bit of harping because you're not getting new people every week now, Kate, I don't think. You're getting people that are here or people that have been with you all along. So we are, as many as we are strong, what do we do now? Now, I believe it was Swan who shared the key of being, deciding what it is you're going to do and stand in that and get on with it. I believe that was the key. It had to do with commerce. And you swung over there and you said, yeah, as long as your intention is right. Right?
Sorry, I was muted. My mouse stopped working. Absolutely. I'm not harping, guys. Please don't even assume.
Well, hang on. Stop. Don't defend yourself all the time.
I'm not. Tracy.
Well, you don't need to. You don't need to.
Tracy, hun, I'm gonna ask.
It's what I mean by harping, that if I put myself in the person like that, the gal that I am, who's been here for quite a while, I sense that, you have a tendency to. You just said it. You've been saying the same stuff for 5 years.
Yep.
Okay, so we've got that. Now my frustration and my gleaning is now about the pendulum has swung.
Mm-hmm.
And you said the other night it's about doing in regards to Swan's key, and I disagree with that because that's the masculine doing. It's about being.
It's all it's about is being.
The new resurrected divine feminine, which is action-oriented, protective, innovative, very creative. We get behind those dragon shields, right? And we enhance their creativity.
Yeah, Trace, okay, I'm going to ask you to bring it down a level, okay? Quite simply, it's this. Yes, absolutely, Wu Wei, that's where I live. You don't have to do anything when you get to a certain point. But there are baby steps to get there.
Can I share one?
Yeah, go ahead. I've already shared a couple.
I know girls are asking for it, but I tried to share this with you last week and you chomped on me, so let me try. But because I think it's something that people, you said it wasn't about documents, you didn't care, and ever since then, it's about documents, but this one you didn't care for, so let's just see if it resonates with some people. Now, in regards to the name, in regards to the intent, in regards to all of the information, the downloading, the figuring out, the discoveries that you shared, brought me to a place of, well, that makes sense, If the birth certificate is actually a death certificate, then get the live birth record if you can. Get it from the hospital, not the vital statistics, the corporation. And start there as a tool to acknowledge that, in fact, there's reversal. There's a coming out of that previous intention that did take place in the physical. And if somebody who wants a physical, tangible tool, a place to start, a place to wrap their mind, body, and soul around.
Well, let me just jump in for a second here. Because
that's one, right?
Okay, well, no, I'm going to show you how it's not one, right? If you were born in a hospital, you're already born in the prison. Okay, it's a hospital ward for a reason. All right, when you walk through the front doors of a hospital, you are now in contract with the state. You are using their services. The deal is already done before the form is filled out.
It's still a record before you were named, and it's still okay. You don't need the record. I get it, but what Carol, I believe, is saying is, it's a big jump to grasping and just being okay with what you're standing in, and you're not totally standing in it anyway. So it's not.
Okay, what part am I not totally standing in?
Can I be totally honest?
I wouldn't expect anything but.
Okay, well, I feel that that it would be great if you were on the radio, continued to be on the radio for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel it would be great if you were being all aspects, being, not just talking, but being all aspects of who you are. Being, like that means being mobile, that means shifting something, that means working somewhere or recording a song and sing, or busking, or that means moving around to me. I don't know, I'm just feeling that that's what it means for me. It's getting to the local level, connecting with people, getting into all that intent that we put out, gardening, building, sharing, face-to-face, aligning with nature. It's time. That's where we need to be, those of us that know.
That's it?
It's the key. It's the key, and it merges. It merges you with a lot of other people. Like.
Oh, okay. Well, here, let me throw some brutal honesty back at you, Trace.
Dean's key and Carol's key.
Oh no, okay, fine. You said your piece. Let me throw mine back at you. All right. What do you think I do all day?
Well, I know that you are.
Seriously, from waking to going to sleep. What do you think? I need the honest answer here, Trace.
I believe you work what I call working the light, which is sharing information and making connections and contacting people and
answering email, answering phone calls on Skype.
Not what your administration for, okay? I don't give a shit about that because you're on mission. So I don't care about whining and bitching. I care about your mission. That's what's important.
Okay, well, you need to stop caring about my mission because I'll tell you, this is exactly why I was thinking about not bothering to keep on the air. This is exactly why. Because you still don't get it.
Yes, we do. I do. I think a lot of people do, and you're undermining us by saying we don't every time you're challenged.
No, I'm not. Okay, Tracy, when was the last time you signed something?
First of all, I asked you...
Tracy, no, when was the last time you signed something?
First of all, Katie.
No,
Katie,
no.
I told
Tracy,
you that...
I'll pull you. I can't mute you. I have to pull you. Okay?
I want you to know my name's Trace. I told you that the other day. I said I changed my name. I'm no longer Tracy Ann Smith. I'm now Trace.
Great. Glad to hear it, Trace.
Okay, that was very sarcastic.
Yes, it was, because you need to understand something. I brought you into the call with me, and I cannot mute you if I feel that you're being mutable. Okay?
Hey, I'm a Sagittarian. Perfect. Sorry, that was good. I am a mutable sign. Or am I fixed?
Well, you can't be mutable because I am. Tony's rebooting here. Sorry, you're right now. I feel is foul.
I know. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I mean, no, I'm not even sorry. I mean, that wasn't my intention. My intention was to.
Okay. Well, here's a question for you, Trace. What?
Is Mike Cooley on the line?
No, he's not here yet. I'll tag him. When was the last time you signed something?
I don't sign.
Okay. Well, when was the last time you signed something?
Let me think.
A week ago, a month ago?
Probably about 4 months ago.
You didn't have to sign anything when you flew?
Actually, you know what? I did go there, and I do not recall. I think I got away with not signing.
Okay. Did you box it?
No, I don't. No, I don't do that. I thought about the boxing, the bracketing, all that, but I'm a tagged freeman on the land. And I can't actually afford.
Now we're getting to the meat and potato.
I can't afford to call attention to myself in mid-travel.
Right. So,
me in the can, won't they? Yep.
Yeah. Oh, just like me, right?
Well, no, I'm just saying you don't go too far. When you do, you play it very.
I go. No, I don't play it safe at all. I go where I want to go.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do. I was out 3 times this week.
Driving?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but...
Why do you think I needed to get the car back?
but that's not freedom.
What's not free about it? I get in, I turn the key, and I go where I want to go.
Freedom would be when you are in a garden without worrying about documents,
speaking of which, let Dean know that there's they've already fulfilled the complete fraud. There's someone in my home now. So pass along gratitude.
Okay, I feel for you there, and I'm wondering
no,
what's going on. I absolutely do. I feel for you there because I know that you and him had a conversation, and he said that he could help you get your house back. Absolutely. And
no, it's whether he does or not. That's not his responsibility. I just said, thanks for the intent. Anyway, I meant that genuinely. That's what it is. It's all good.
The other thing that has to happen, whether it's Dean helping or not, is you have to let go
of
some emotional attachment for it actually, if it's really what you want and all of that. You can't just say it's about Dean or anything.
Welcome to Syncretism psychotherapy session with Trace.
Well, no, but you know that, right? Like, it's
not...
No,
look, there you go again. I don't know what you say I know. I know what I know, and I really need you to stop doing that.
Mirror, 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 mirror. I'm just reflecting a harsher angle. Sorry.
It's going fucking nowhere, Trace.
Well, you know what? It is going. It's going to a place where,
No, actually, all you're doing right now is you're riling me up, and there's Michael. I'm going to pull Michael into the call right now.
Yeah, let's get Michael there.
Trace, I'm gonna.
Okay, bye.
You mute. I can't do it. The only way I can do it is if I knock you right off the call and get you to call in. All right, you need to chill. Thank you. Hang on, Michael. I'm going to pull you in. All right.
Okay.
There you go. Hey, Michael. Yeah, you can't call me direct. I just tag me on a text, and I'll know. As soon as I saw it ringing, I pulled you in. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. Man, it's
interesting, eh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Very interesting. Let me cut the show on my other, or just pause. Okay. That way, I'm not hearing.
No worries, my friend.
The delay and stuff, Wow. What did I do? I heard my name mentioned, and I was in chat, and I was just listening to everything. And
Trace was just wondering if you were in the call. What I'm going to explain right now, this is exactly the tension that occurs when I bring it this hard to people. People are still grabbing onto things. This is what happens. This is exactly what happens. And this is why I find it more so lately that regardless of what I share with people, I mean, there are some. There's Alf and Otis and a whole bunch of others that I am in direct contact with, being during the day. And, I know, I got to tell you, it's the people that are doing the baby steps. That's all it takes, And here's the thing, and I've said this many times before, it's not about doing it at all. It's about changing your mind. That's the only thing. That's the only thing you got to do. And so many people are still stuck in the, I got to buy. No, you don't. You have to change your mind about it. That's all I'm trying to share. And everyone's still stuck in the physical 3D reality, thinking that there is a physical solution to this. There isn't. It was never.
What do you think is going to happen, Kate? It's going to be a twinkle of an eye, and all of a sudden, what?
I have no idea. I just keep visualizing what I see as a benevolent, wonderful world that I would like to live in, and I stay there, and I try to share that. I've shared it in song all my life. I've shared it in everything I've done, and still, I get the same, defenses.
Okay, but if you don't dissipate it by sharing it with those of us that don't get it, then you would have the abundance and all the 6D reality that you're aware of. Instead of trying to get others to get there before they're ready and frustrating you could be in that somewhere. I'm saying with your family and your dogs, you have more than the talent and capability to just already be in that.
Oh, thanks. I didn't realize again it was going to be a psychotherapy session for Kate tonight. You have no idea what I've been through.
It's energy. No, we're talking about energy. This is what we talk about in 5-6D. How do we attract and repel energy? What are we intending with our knowledge? Because it's got to be applied to be wisdom.
All right.
You want me to be your counselor and your?
Would you, Michael, please? Yeah, I just got a message from someone listening. You know what it is? Wow, are you going through undue shit? Yeah.
Lay down on the couch. Lay down on the couch. Close your eyes. Tell me what's going on. Hey, you got a lot of patience because believe me, I know where everybody's frustration is at.
I hear it.
Mine comes out from time to time, and my thing is that really gets to eye openers. It's like, well, I'm going to way to go against the evil, corrupt, evil doer system and just kill them all, that's how I come across sometimes. It's like, well, I'll gather an army, and they got an army, and until they're dead, and we win. But that everybody goes, well, yeah, oh my God, you can't do that. Violence, and well, it may come to that someday. Maybe we won't be around, but maybe it'll come to that. The good versus evil. It always happens, and good always wins, and evil always dies, and they're to the point now where they've got people suppressed, and people are getting frustrated, and they're getting turning on each other, and pretty soon people realize, hey, we can win. We'll just kill evil.
Yeah, well, there's only one way to do that, and it's not about getting physical about it.
It's love for self.
Well, it's love thine, no vengeance.
Yeah.
Love thine enemies, nemesis. And I had a great talk with Eric today about that, and if people would just learn that one thing. The only thing that you're holding on to is the vengeance, right? And one of the unfortunate parts about being me is I get to feel everyone's vengeance. And that's all I felt tonight.
Yeah. That's true.
Steve, you're in the call. How are you, my friend?
Cool. Good to talk with you. My goodness, my friend. Was everybody just piles of shit on you tonight, or what?
I have no idea. But again, it's listen, I can transmute it, so it's not easy, but I can do it.
And that's what we'll do. All love to everyone.
Absolutely.
We're all on different levels, doing different things, and we're all working for the same place. So all love and good to everyone.
Bingo. And let's talk about some little baby steps. I've talked about these many times. Here's things that if you have the need to do a physical action to show your own change of intent, here's a couple of things you can do. And we'll save you this one will save you some postage, okay? If you want to mail a letter to someone, put their name in the return to sender part, the top left of the envelope, and put in some bogus address, non-existent or whatever, where you'd normally want to send it to, and just throw it in the mailbox. It'll get there. Okay, so there's an easy one. You save yourself 50 cents or 60 cents on a postage stamp, and there's 60 cents you don't have to skin off someone's back. I'm trying to stop people from skinning people, right? If you can't change the intent, I'm going to try to minimize the slaughter of ourselves. This is my goal, all right?
Exactly.
Here's another one, all right? If you're going to sign something, right, I know this is a tough concept for people to get, but you see the credit cards that you're walking around with and the debit cards, they're all traceable. I don't care what card you use, okay? If you're using something that uses a digital interface, you're traced. End of story, okay? That's why they don't like cash. That's why they hate it. That's where black market is up, okay? That goes totally against commerce in their way. They can't tax the black market. And if you're going to use cash, here's another nifty little trick. So I've showed you how to mail stuff for free. Works a treat, by the way. Okay? So you're starting to pick away at the IMF. And don't throw a stamp on it. Just in the return to sender, they're obligated once they're handed it to them. That's why I say don't put your own address in the to where you'd write to. Put something else in. I don't care. Walt Disney World. Pick something fun. Mickey Mouse, care of, right? And I'm being quite literal here, guys. I'm being serious. Until you start having some fun messing with these people that have been messing with you for a lifetime or 1,000, you're not going to get it, all right? So if you're going to use cash, here's something else you can do. If you want to get the intent out there, once you start understanding that money is actually your flesh, then just take a Sharpie or a marker or something. You don't have to be bold and big. Oh, they might trace a DNA back. Oh, please. This is the fear. Feel the fear coming in here, right? So you just write flesh on that 20 or 10 or whatever the case may be. Whether anyone reads it or not doesn't matter. You just put your intent into the universe. Or take that same take a red pen and box the signatures on the notes. You're actually making it etherically worthless because you've lifted their names off that document. And it's a document. It's an intergovernmental piece of paper used for and by slaves. That's what money is, right? It was built off your slave bond that you are in slavery with. So why not have some fun with it? Start changing the intent. If you want to claim to be free, then take the money and start boxing the signatures. Have some fun with it. Be creative. It's not your money anyway. It belongs to the Federal Reserve. It's a note. It belongs to the Rothschilds, the IMF. Every note on the planet is based and pegged to the U.S. dollar. That's why they're fighting to keep it. They don't want it collapsing. Are you kidding me? Look how many wars they fought to, to take out people like Gaddafi, who was a major threat to their world economy, by saying, no, we're just going to be using gold and what have you. And what happened to Gaddafi? Well, and I'll tell you why it happened to him. Because he was in universal law agreement with the nations. I think you call it United Nations, right? So he was already in contract. So they could do whatever they wanted to him because he was still their slaves. Yeah, even Muammar Gaddafi. Even the Queen of England is one of their slaves. Don't kid yourself. All right, so there's a couple of little things you can do. Stop signing things. Now, if you see something that needs signed for, and say, no, I don't do that. Because when you do that, you're granting intention to them, unless you know exactly who and what you are. Okay, so there's a few simple little things that you can do. Empty your bank accounts. If you've got a couple of bank accounts, close one of them. You know, go into the bank and ask to get your signature card, and you just want to verify the signature, and as soon as they bring it out, you put a box around it. You know, a friend of mine actually opened a bank account and did all that, and I'll tell you, there's some interesting things happening around that bank account. You know, no questions asked. Yeah, I mean, these are little, if you want to call them tricks, you can call them that or whatever, but these are little intentions that you can do just to change things. And it's not about physically doing something. This is the only point I'm trying to make. It's changing your decision to do it. Why are you doing it? Are you doing it because you feel you have to? Or are you doing it because you have chosen to? Right? As soon as you know you're doing it because you know you have to in order to have that, that's a different intention. And that's the stopgap between just saying, screw the banks. I haven't had a bank account in 2.5 years. As soon as I realized the mortgage was all fraud. And remember, I've been walking this road for a little while. I'm one of the newer ones. I've only been in this game about 3.5 years, right? As far as this part of it. I was exposing a lot of shit before on the radio and stuff, but that was my own personal journey. And I got to say, it was a lot of when I made my decision to stand in truth and not yield from it, I had countless gut-wrenching decisions, you know, hovering over my keyboard to hit enter, to hit send, to send documents to the Rothschilds and the Vatican and the Queen and all the local cops and and I'm talking, my email lists were fairly sizable because I brought everyone on, you know, the Association of Chiefs of Police across Canada, RCMP, name it. They were all on those lists. And I got to tell you, the stomach turned a few times, you know, but I had to suck that up and go, enter, send. And as soon as it was gone, boy, oh boy, it was gone. And there's no taking it back. That's what I'm talking about, leaps of faith. And they don't have to be big ones. They just have to be tiny little baby steps. But you got to change your mind first. You're not going to take one single step until you do that. And if you don't, here it is, boys and girls. You get what you get. I just can't be a part of it anymore. I can't be a part of reinforcing the slavery of my brothers and sisters when I know full well if I do that I would be. I can't do it. So yeah, Trace, I actually, you know, when I travel, I run the gauntlet every single time. You know, could I go out and do music and stuff? Sure. I'm not too high profile. I would bring a whole lot of attention on myself. No, I bring enough attention on the radio, thanks. You know, I live in a slightly different world, and I'm not saying that it's better or lesser. It's just different. My scenario, my situation, is a fairly high profile one, and I maintain that high profile because I still zing stuff at them. But it's not about what I send and what it's my intent behind it. And I just plant the seeds. That's all I'm doing. This is what we do on these shows every night. You know, when people get defensive because they feel they have to be guarded because they're still using system, that's not my intention. And you're missing my whole point. Completely. Like, completely. No, this is about changing your mind. And then, at that point, you can decide what you're going to do. Because I'm not going to hold your hand. I cannot. I would be trespassing on your free will choice to learn. I won't shit in your nest, don't shit in mine. That's how it works. And that's how we do this together. You know, stand singular, with our intention to become the exponential creation of doing it together. That's all.
I think they're worried.
What's that?
I think they're worried that if they take that leap and they take that step, that they're going to be all alone.
Yeah.
People need to feel like they have some kind of support in it. I mean,
safety net.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know. You're...
Well, here's the thing, and let's put this out to everyone that is getting, like in Carol's case, getting a check that she absolutely needs. Absolutely. What happens? This is why the system won't fall, right? Oh, well, not by their hands. System collapses, you're not going to get a check anyway.
Yeah.
You know, and you're not going to have a mortgage payment because the banks are gone. And you're not going to have a car payment. You're not going to be fighting 40 and 50 hours a week to try to survive to get, 3 to 5% of the money you actually earn, because the other 95 to 97% is chewed up in taxes. Do the math. You'd be amazed. Inflation, we can go back to the early 1900s, when a day's wage was a dime, okay? And you could live on it. Why? Well, because everything wasn't inflated, because in 1933 they decided to make slaves of everyone on the planet, because the IMF and their infinite trickery screwed the planet over. Said, okay, well, you can't give us the gold, give us your slaves. And they did. Because they loved their, filthy lucre, and they loved their, their buzzes and Chappaquiddick and all the rest of it. And, they like being politicians that can go out and rape and murder children and murder people and get off the hook for it and all the rest of it. They love all that. What do you think is going to make them change? You? Good luck with that. Boy, we've been trying that for a long time, revolution after revolution, and where has that got us? Well, that vengeance gets you. It gets you a big repeat of the same program. I'm just trying to break that program, that's all.
Yeah, they don't care if they're exposed. I tell people with all of these events that happen, and they're saying, "Oh, look at there," and they're lying. They're covering this up. They're doing this, but they don't care. They don't care about you. They don't care. They have an agenda. They have a contract to fulfill.
That's right. And as long as you're voting and playing the Whore Babylon game to the max and not doing anything to change your mind about it, they own you. They own you mind, body, and spirit. And they're going to tap you to the ninth. Yeah. Until you got no aura left. No gold of Son of God, you. That's what they're after. Have you seen the movie Oblivion yet?
Not yet.
Oh, beautiful metaphors. Beautiful. This is like stunning. If you, I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but it's an alien race that has parked itself in orbit off the Earth. They had destroyed the moon, did some serious damage to it, and of course threw the planet into chaos and what have you. And effectively, what they did was they came down and wiped out everybody on the planet, and there was a space mission that had been sent up to investigate these aliens, and what they'd done with them is they took the pilot and co-pilot, and because the other ones were all in stasis, and they had released that to stay in orbit, and there were still some humans on the Earth. Of course, they didn't wipe us all out, but what they were using these two pilot and co-pilot was Tom Cruise and his co-star, one of the co-stars anyway. They cloned them, and they were using the clones as agents on the planet, working space platforms, and they were draining the oceans. That was, these giant spaceships emptying the oceans. That's what these alien race did. It came in and just raped planets. And I would highly recommend to anyone, if you haven't seen it, don't look at it to be entertained. It's got its moments, absolutely, but don't be entertained by it. Try to see the metaphors of what is being shown to you. And at the end of the day, consciousness never, even in the clone, the DNA, never got lost. You'll understand that when you see the end of the movie. And
yeah, I got to see it now.
Oh, it is. It's quite good. You're going to get it on Movies 2K. It's free to watch. Let's go rent it. I mean, Germany, and that's the thing too. People are still out buying DVDs and going to the movies and stuff like that. And just feeding the beast, right? But again, it's about changing baby steps. If you're buying a 2 for or 2 a month, or beer or whatever, cut it in half. Stop feeding the tax alcohol beast. I'll say right now, when that's the thing I have against alcohol. I mentioned this last night. Is that what it does is it's one of the very few things that can penetrate the. That's why they use it. That can and make it legal even. The brain cells that can actually get through the membrane, and it opens you up to other dimensions. I mean, how many times in your life have you ever been drunk and done something that you would never do? Well, because it wasn't you.
I've used that one a lot.
Well, it wasn't. That was. You got to remember, there's lots of dimensions going on here, and when we lose our guard, when we drop our guard, other entities walk in.
Yeah, that thing. I did what?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I was where? With who?
How many times?
Oh God, I didn't even get to that one.
You know what I mean? And again, we got to start laughing at ourselves too, right? For those that are resonating with that last few comments, yes. Now, stop taking yourself seriously.
Laughing helps to open things. When you laugh, you can just feel the openness of yourself.
It's and again, this is a dimensional thing, right? So, and that's a free will. If you Steve Richards does a better job of explaining this than I do, but I'll give it a shot. When you do things that open up dimensions, get tipsy, alcohol especially, you've opened up another dimension. You've walked into it, and free will has this part of the law, maxim, if you will, that if you walk into somebody else's backyard, they're not allowed to walk into yours. And my intuitive feeling on this is exactly what happened with Atlantis. And you know the story. If you don't, well, the space-time got ripped open, and other entities entered this realm.
Yeah. Do you think the universe kind of does that? It like the universe gets to a point where it sort of does give the planet a choice?
Absolutely.
Or it forces kind of things to happen.
Well, we have that absolute, because we are all of the same consciousness, right? Not a hive mind. That's what they're trying to condition people into. Borg. Have a look around Earth, and you see a lot of Borg walking here. But effectively, when if you trespass on someone else's turf, then they can come and walk on yours. Because the golden rule is the only one I follow. That which you wish upon another, you wish upon yourself. So if I have wished upon another, me walking into their realm, then I have equally, because the universe must maintain one thing and one thing only: balance. I have disturbed the balance.
I think back to that commercial. I think it was the 80s or 90s. I know you remember it, but there's a line. I don't know if it's in heaven or somewhere, and the guy starts complaining about, damn, I mean, does this line ever move? And, slow, and the guy up there just clicks the button and he drops down a hatch and says, moving now. Moving now, isn't it?
Exactly. And right now we are in the soul harvest. So you're going to have to make up your mind. You want another round of this, or are you ready to step off of here? And the way you're going to step off of here is taking full accountability. Respawn's ability, the re-giving of life ability to self. Right? And I mentioned that in the essay last night. That's why they want you to respond to their little pieces of paper, because respawn means to re-give life.
Yeah. When I talk about, when I said like the kill 'em all thing or whatever, that's just,
I know.
I don't really mean kill it in a sense, and maybe in a spiritual.
I got your ethereal intent on it.
Not physically. Yeah. That's.
Yeah, you're tired of it too. So much.
And from my other life, I was in a sport or something, I guess. I just want to grab the sword and say, well, it's moving now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or something to that effect. I'm not a violent person. Anybody that knows will tell you I'm the complete opposite from that.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was a curse or a problem. I said, well, maybe I should be a little bit more, aggressive to people. And maybe I should, But that damn caring heart.
Absolutely. Here's the one question. Can you dare to look in the face of what you deem to be your enemy? Can you dare to say, I love you?
Yes.
Can you let it go? Can you let it go? I'm talking to everybody. Can you let it go? Or is there something that's still going to eat at you to say, I got to get even, I got to get that prick, and all the rest of the nonsense comes along with it? hey, don't kid yourself. I've had my days, and these are the battles that I've been fighting within, right? But these are my battles. They're no one else's. And can I look at everybody here? I'll tell you, all the people that came and harmed me, the only thing that concerns me about them is the fact that they're going to have to experience that which they have done to me.
Right.
I have to be strong enough to say, I forgive me, and it is not my intent or wish for you to experience that, but if that is what you have chosen in your actions, there is nothing I can do, because universe must maintain balance. This is why we have to stop with the vengeance, because it's just going to come back and bite you in the ass. You're going to experience everything that you're doing against somebody else. And all I'm trying to do now is zero that out.
And it will. It's guaranteed. Because I look back and even see it in a sense where it's happened to me, like the karma thing, and all those times where I thought I was, I was one-upping somebody or getting over on this and over that. The universe, again, has its way of balancing it. Yeah, and I tell people, I said, I don't seek vengeance upon you. Or if I tell my ex or something, it's like, I don't, when I say you're going to pay for what you've done, doesn't mean that I'm going to come stalking you and stab you, and you don't have to fear that, but just what you have to fear is that, the karma of what it is you do and put into the universe. It's going to do what it's going to do. It's hard to tell people and warn them of that without them looking at you like, oh my God, what are you going to do to me?
That's
well, I'm going to do nothing to you,
I don't have to. I think I mentioned this last night, or at least once before anyway. If you walk up to somebody and slap them across the face, can you honestly say, after the fact, that you didn't do that? Yeah. Your intent was absolutely crystal clear. Here's the thing. By one's actions, one has already judged themselves. There's no one for a court. You are it.
You leave a mark on your hand. You have that meat stick mark.
Exactly. And the simple fact is, you have willfully went out and inflicted harm on another. And guess what happens? The pendulum must swing back. You will get slapped.
Yeah.
And I have thought about it. It says, what the hell did I do so bad for the system to come at me so hard? And there's many things that I looked at in terms of why did I get cleaned out financially? Well, because I was helping people solve financial issues. So what I was doing was the opposite. I was hurting them by keeping them entrained into the Whore of Babylon. That was going back about 2.5 years now. And it took a while to come to terms with that. But I can look in the mirror and say, yeah, well, if I was helping them get this much and that much, that's pretty much balanced out. Yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's been for so long. I was climbing the ladder of what I thought was success, and the more ruthless I was, I could see the envy in the eyes of my bosses and my peers and people like, oh yeah, you're going to go places, you're going to go to the top, Just the more ruthless I was, and I hated myself because I knew it deep inside that it wasn't me. It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I woke up and realized, who me was, and then all of a sudden I didn't quite fit.
Yeah, exactly. And then the green-eyed monster shows up, right?
Yeah. What do you mean? You care for these people? You're showing some signs of, what's wrong with you?
Well, I'm just going to share a little something that was passed along. Excuse me, I haven't read it completely yet, but I always know that when this individual passes something along, it's worth the sharing.
Okay.
All right, let me see. Just got to go back to the top. It's not that long, but here we go. We were talking about alcohol. Yeah, and absolutely. That's why spirits are called spirits, alcoholically speaking. Speaking for myself here, I had to take a long, hard look at who was exercising their own agenda in my experience before that construct started to fall apart. And that's it in a nutshell. When you can still feel love for those that have harmed you, your work is done. It doesn't mean you condone or excuse what was done to harm. It just means loving unconditionally and knowing that everyone you look at is part of yourself. And now you know why I love sharing stuff that this individual shares with me.
Oh, that was beautiful.
And it's true. It's when we get into the unconditional. It's like the other night we had all the shills calling in, right? That was a hoot. I had a great thought. I don't let them bother me, and it's like, whatever. Yeah, let them expose themselves by their actions. They're shown, and then you play. It's like last night I wanted to have wanted them to call in, and they were nowhere near me. Coward. I guess $8-9 an hour for the Obama program isn't quite enough for these guys, or whatever, CSIS or whatever group they're working for. Hey, we got another caller here. Let's bring some people in. And guys, don't be shy here, eh? So we're going wide open tonight. Area code 810. Your line is open.
Oh, is it me, Kate?
That is you.
Hi, just calling to introduce myself.
Glad to have you, my friend. What's on your mind?
Oh, I've been listening to your shows pretty much every night. Yeah, I download them. And I thought I'd call in. I talked to you a little bit on Facebook. I'm one of those baby steppers, yeah.
Yeah, I don't expect people to, let's just say I can fly a Cessna 152, 172, right? I'm not going to get behind the joystick of a 747 just because I can fly. That's madness.
I don't carry around a state ID anymore. I had my own ID made up.
Well, here, I'll tell you, the easy one on that, all you need to do, and I'm going to send everyone over to this, if you want, for those that are still having system issues, okay, and working, go over to notacitizen.com.
Mm-hmm. That's a good
Spend a little bit of time there. He doesn't carry any ID like me. All he carries is one thing, the proof of the fraud, birth certificate. Because it fulfills that's why I was laughing at the no ID thing. Well, you need a piece of paper to show these guys. We'll show them the fraud.
I've sat at a police booking station for 17 hours because I refused to tell them who they wanted to know I was.
Yeah, you have to consent to it in order to get slammed. They can't do a thing.
I've stood in front of a judge and asked him by what authority he uses that name as personal identification. He asked me again what my name was. I told him I didn't. What evidence do you have that I own anything?
And they have nothing. They got nothing. And that, you know what? You just did a beautiful circle for me there. I'm going to show you how beautiful that circle is. Because one, if they don't get consent, they don't have you. That is the bottom line. And
but they are tricky. In that situation, what they did was had the bailiff take me off, contempt of court, 30 days in jail. And he told the bailiff to fingerprint me to make sure he had the right guy. So I think by my consenting to them taking my hand and my print, I was giving consent one more time.
Oh, they were going to get it one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, they
get your hand.
That's my biggest thing going into court. I'm like, how do these judges have you in contempt as soon as you walk in there? And then, I ran across the gate.
Did you get my document, I Who Shall Not Be Named?
Yeah. I'm John from Facebook, Kate. I've been talking to you a little bit.
Read it again. Because that is the turning of the tables. One, you shouldn't be in court because you are automatically... These are lawyers that they're starting to show them now because they don't have a choice anymore because we've pulled everything back. When you walk into court, you're in contempt of court. Yep. Because you're already committing fraud before they even open the door. They just need you to aid and abet it. That's the only thing. That's all they want.
I just had 6 officers show up here last week looking for me on a bench warrant. I mean, they took a credit card and walked in the house while I was gone. Scared the shit out of the wife.
No doubt.
Yeah.
They'll break and enter because until people know who they are. I mean, you're right at the threshold, my friend. Until people know who they are and that how the fraud works, that any agreement with that name at all is contempt of court. Yeah. And that means if there's a piece of paper that you answer to, I'll tell you, the only thing that I'm using or would use now is I Who Shall Not Be Named. And if you notice on it, there's nothing on there but the name that they own.
Yeah, you're in contempt of court as soon as you walk in that courtroom. If you have any inclination of standing up for anything in that name, I don't care if it's an agent or what.
The name isn't yours, that's why. You're using stolen property. You're using a false identification.
Yep, I'm totally on board with.
And would the first step, Kate, be to not go?
Oh yeah. The thing is, if they give you something, I would. For me, it's just a situation of. I mean, I'm writing stuff now that I don't need to write. I'm just writing it because I know people need to get the concept. Okay, and I'll tell you why. And this is the biggest gift that was ever given to me, and I remember it very well. The day that judge bowed, and I saw the video later. I looked at it, And of course, everyone and their uncle had to have a comment on it, and of course the shills show up in droves and whatever. So I'm looking at it laughing, right? And then, everyone's talking about this, that. Well, you didn't do this, and you didn't blah blah blah, blah. And all this left brain ego drivel was flying all over the walls. And there was only one. Yeah, there was only one question that no one asked. You know what the question was?
What was it?
Why did the judge bow?
He left the battlefield first. That's his
Absolutely.
Only
and this took me a while. Every time I looked at that video, I learned something new. It's only 2.5 minutes, but boy, everything's there if you can see it.
Am I still in the room?
Oh, yeah, you're still here, Steve.
I've got a little baby step.
Oh, hit us, please.
Yeah, little baby step. There's a lot of, documentation. There's a lot of thoughts, a lot of truth out there. And I don't remember who the woman was who was having a hard time figuring it out. But you have to look at these things and first take them into your heart and learn to stand with yourself and who you are with yourself. And then all these documents make sense and all the truth makes sense. You can't take a document into a situation and expect that document to save your damned ass.
Bingo.
I'm more in the belief that no document is going to save you, and why
that's what I was
writing them.
That's what I was just going to say. I started out, I'm 55 years old, and I started out in 1978, I believe it was, reading Willard Cantillon's work on the Federal Reserve, the Trilateral Commission, the Council of Foreign Affairs. So I've got like about 35 to 40 years involved in this point. And I've stood in my own way for all that time. And yes, those documents are good to teach other people, but you don't need the documents to teach yourself. You have to know your own heart first.
And I believe that court won't give you the respect that you deserve until you stand in front of them and verbally.
I need no respect from a court. I need no respect from anyone.
I know you. I'm not saying you're looking for respect, but you're not. They're not going to give any. Okay. And I'm not saying anyone should be looking for it, but when you stand on your own and verbally, I guess, joust with that judge, that's your test. And he's not going to let you walk forward anymore in that perception or that reality until you've been tested by him.
I was in the court on Thursday, and the judge, for the 6th time, not even looked me in the eye. And I sat out there in the hallway and had conversations with attorneys and people and explained to them what the corporate court system was. And we had some great times, great synchronicity. And I walked into that courtroom right as they called my name, and the judge would not even look up at me and said he's going to postpone another 30 days because he doesn't want to deal with me. He's never engaged me, and he can't engage me.
No.
So anyway, the point being is, we do need the doctors, but basically more for our own education and to educate other people. But you have to know in your heart where you stand with yourself. If you want to call yourself a free man on this earth or a sovereign or whatever, no, I'm Stephen Keith Richard Mahon, and my father gave me that name, and no one has ever owned that, and I will stand with my father and the rest of my ancestors. And I know what all has transpired, and just stand with yourself.
Yeah, the only thing that in terms of court, and you're just the guy to do. If there was a birth certificate involved, it was sold on an ethereal level.
Yes.
Okay? And when people have that reality and you nail in the head, it's like I can write documents all day long as templates, and they're going to be useless unless you know what they are. And that, again, I'm not going to feed candy to fools.
No.
All right? If you've heard any of my shows over the years, I will tell you, people come on, well, I used so-and-so's process, and it didn't work. And I said, no, you didn't. Well, what do you mean? He says, no, you used your interpretation of so-and-so's process.
Exactly.
And that's it. So stop blaming something outside of yourself, because that's all you're doing. You fail.
Kate, you have done wonderful work. I am very proud of you, and you're opening eyes to many people. And what you went through earlier in this show was ridiculous. And I say that with all love. That I just want the people to quit asking for someone else to give them the answers. It's within your own heart. and take this information and digest it before you spit it back out, because you have to understand your own heart and where you're at with yourself.
Yeah, I think what Kate was trying to also say and said before is that we're all unique in our own individual way, and we each carry different, things in our lives, and
we all carry our own torch. And as much as they are different, they are very similar, although never identical. That's the whole idea of consciousness splitting itself into infinite pieces, like we are. And that's not a make wrong or anything at all, especially in this call. This is about. I think if there's only one message for me is you got to come to terms with yourself first. And I am not the enemy. I am not casting judgment on anyone. I will only tell people what I have experienced to see if it resonates. And if it doesn't resonate, I would only ask you to ask yourself why it doesn't resonate, instead of, and I'm not saying I'm right, I don't care if I am, I'll tell you what I feel though, and I'll tell you what I've been through, and I'll tell you what transpired as a result of my own being and doing. I'm not I'm not speaking for theory.
Put on the fine print on the bottom. This will not be easy.
This will not be easy. And
hey, I spent 21 days in the county lockup, and I went down there to court on Thursday and had gentlemen that I was in there with who came up to me and thanked me for the information that I gave them while I was in there. So it was a blessing all around.
Absolutely. That's why they put me in solitary, Steve. Well,
yeah. Same here, Kate. When they stick me in jail, I fuck up so many other cases.
No kidding, man. No kidding.
Well, I was a little bit of a special case too, having boobs and all. So,
Well, special case. We love you, Kate.
And there's the lesson. Don't take yourself so seriously.
Yeah. No kidding.
And that's what it boils down to. But there's a beautiful message tonight, Steve. Just because it's written on a document doesn't mean it's going to work.
No.
If it's written on your heart because you read it and went, "Oh my God, now I get it."
Amen, brother, sister. Amen, sister. You betcha, all the way.
That's all it takes. You got to make it yours. If it ain't yours, don't use it. You're stealing.
Well, the best part was when I was walking down the hallway in the room on Thursday, the county deputy that decided to taser me 3 times. He walked out of a doorway and ran right into me. Looked him right in the eye, was like, "Love you, brother, man. I hope this works out better for you than it did the last time."
Perfect. And there it is. Laugh in the face of what would be deemed evil.
Oh, it's comical.
It is. And that one, this place, they make you feel like it's so serious. And, listen, look at a cop's face.
Well, I will say this, too. I think it was Trace who was giving you a hard time, and I love you, sister. Don't be afraid. Don't be upset. Just give a big laugh at all this. It's all coming the right direction, and you're right on spot. Just take a deep breath and just laugh real big.
Agreed. We're all walking a beautiful, all things for a reason path, and that's why I will not look at anyone's path and say, "Well, that's wrong." No, I'll look at that path and say, "Okay, well, that's a cool path. I'm on this one, and I'm looking at what you're doing, and there's my 2 questions again. Is that something I would do or something I wouldn't?" Those are the only questions I ask me, no one else, right? And when people feel the urge to come in and try to tell me what I should and shouldn't do, well, sorry, you're passing on my free will choice.
Exactly.
I'm not doing that to you. This is what I do. Whether you agree with it or not, that's great.
Well, you were gracious this evening, and you generally are, and I really appreciate your spirit.
Check some of my earlier shows.
Well, you do. I had a long talk with Santos here about his anger issues, and we just have to get to the point that, gosh darn, we've all been going through this for a long time, and we're getting really close to where we want to be.
Yeah.
And we really need to take a deep breath and give everybody a giant hug and, just say, "Hey, it's been a great ride, man."
Yeah, and the other side of it too, and this is how serious I take things. It'd be nice if someone in Southern Ontario said, "Oh, I'm going to call Kate and take her out dancing or whatever." No one does that.
Well, I live out in the country, and I tried the city once for about a year and a half, 30-some years ago, and that didn't work out. And I've got this beautiful wife here, and we turn on some really good old music, and we'll just kick it up right on the living room floor half the night, and it works out well.
Missed that.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, at the beginning, we're in this journey, and there's bumps, and there's mistakes, and for people who've been in a long time, there's some that are just at the beginning of this journey, and it's going to be tough, There's going to be stumbles, there's going to be trips, falls, and that's all good.
And the good news is, here's the good news. Look how many of us there are now. If somebody does bump, stumble, and fall, look how many are here to give them a hand up. Not a hand out,
right.
A hand up. You're standing with my shoulder, you're not falling, not if you're standing with me.
Big hug and a kiss on the cheek and say, hey, help me plant some beans and some taters and some tomatoes, and, we'll have us a feast here down the road.
Absolutely. I mean, and you're right, Stephen, this game is coming to a very rapid conclusion, whether people think it or not. I look at, especially lately, all the ramping up of the porn and all the nonsense statutes and everything else that somehow they think matter. That's just, for me, I put it in the mirror. That's just an indication of their own terror of us. And
you know what the definition of a statute is, don't you?
Well, something a pigeon shit on?
Yeah, well, pretty close. It's a contract. It actually is just a contract that's initiated between two people or two entities. And ever since 1871 in this country, actually, here's a really good one for you if you want to go back, and we can go back a little bit. A lot of people wonder how Abraham Lincoln, who was an attorney for the Illinois Central Railroad, got elected to presidency when the 13th Amendment, the original one, was still intact. It's because in 1859, President Buchanan declared martial law, and Abraham Lincoln was elected under martial law. That's why the Lieber Act came into effect in 1863, and after the end of the war and he was assassinated, we were incorporated in 1871 officially. And so, just read your history, folks. It's all out there. It's just what Kate's been telling you all this time. It's all in front of your face. Just quit asking questions and who's going to save my damned ass, and figure out who screwed you for the last 200 years, and go do something about it.
Well, a little longer than 200, but you know what? You're right on the money.
Well, yeah, we could go like about 8 or 10,000 years.
Yeah, but let's keep it local, right?
Yeah, basically. I'm here in the States, so what the heck, And then you go into 1933 and what Roosevelt did with the birth certificates, and
hey, you know what I've got here? Friends dropped it off for me. I've got a copy of the original release that was sent out as a poster. It says right on it, I've got it right here. Coolest thing, I'd never seen a copy of it, and this is like full size. Please post in a conspicuous place. Under executive order of the President issued April 5th, 1933, all persons are required to deliver on or before May 1st, 1933, all gold coin, gold bullion, and gold certificates now owned by them to a Federal Reserve Bank, branch, or agency, or to any member bank of the Federal Reserve System. Executive order. Okay.
Well, here's another one. You can go to 1999, when President William Clinton from the great state of Arkansas, where all the MENA traffic came from.
Yep.
That's where all the Chicago whiskey trade went through Mena, Arkansas in the 30s, and then it's now the Coke trade in the 80s. But anyway, in 1999, executive order that, and I can't remember the order number, I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me, but you can look it up, where he said that they were going to remodel, and they needed to re-apothecate the birth certificates, and I can't remember the dollar amount. But look at the 1999 Bill Clinton executive order where they remonetized the birth certificates.
Yeah, and something else there too with that whole Hurricane Sandy.
Yeah.
Where I'd never seen it before. They were asking people to make sure top of the list to have a copy of their birth certificate Yeah, that wasn't too telling at all. I do want to mention this. We have another caller here. I'm going to bring them in. And you know what, guys? This is exactly the kind of conversations I love having, because we're getting somewhere. And this is not about he said, she said, do this, do that. It's not. It's about explaining the things from the positions of where we're from. And it's not, again, this is not about making right or making wrong. This is about getting things at the table. Let's sit around and there's no debate required here. At all.
Build on a piece of puzzle.
Exactly.
You got to build on something.
Yeah. Well, we got area code 207 joining in now. I wasn't ignoring you. Area code 20. Hey, there you are.
Hi, Kate. It's Karen from Facebook.
Hey, how are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much for bringing me on. I had a question about something you touched on the other night on air. It talked about people who go to church, groups of people, and they're praying, and their energy goes to the wrong place.
It's redirected.
Yeah, can you elaborate on that? And then I'm going to hang up and listen.
Oh, okay, sure, absolutely. I'll give you my intuitive feeling on it and what I see going on. And it goes back to other individuals' work, because I like to be a good observer. I like to see what people are doing, because contrary to popular belief, I do not know everything. I'm still on Earth, eh? Okay, as long as we got that clear. Now, what I saw happening is I was looking at looks like it's raining out. Oh my goodness. One sec. I just came in and filled up my teacup, and oh, look at that, it's pouring out here.
Okay. Wish that was the case here.
Yeah, well, hey, there you go. I got a good overhang here, so here, I'll set it down. Anyway, getting back to the church thing. Now, I always thought it quite interesting that everything regarding the Vatican and their churches, and we're going back hundreds of years here, where the murals have been exposed as being, all about the Orion Nebula, okay? And in incredible detail, when, of course, back in the 1500s, they didn't have Hubble. You know what I'm saying? Yet these paintings were incredibly, I know I'm not talking close here. I'm talking deep, okay? Mimicking the Orion Nebula. And basically the creation, and of course looking at it scientifically, I saw that if you understand what an Anu is, it's basically your heart. This is how universes are created. That's why you are the universe. And the one that's in the Orion Nebula is turning in a male direction, counterclockwise. Notice how the Earth is turning counterclockwise? Okay. Oh, trust me, there's a point to this. Anyway, what happens with that is, in the Orion Nebula, is it's generating stars coming out of the yin-yang, basically. That's the male turning intention. But also the clockwise turning Anu, which is feminine void. And you have to have both, because they kind of work, this gets real technical, but they have to work hand in hand. And for me, it was a real big eye-opener for the patriarchal system. Now, of course, why would the Vatican, look at their telescope, Lucifer, the binocular telescope they have in the U.S., pointing directly at the Orion Nebula. And then I saw this thing about a year ago, I guess. It was an evangelical sermon of these guys, and they basically took people on a journey through space to none other than the Orion Nebula, and what they were telling all their parishioners, on TV or whatever, that this is where God lives. This is heaven, and this is where, it was beyond funny to listen to, but I knew that had a very particular. Why are they doing this? Why? So for me, taking the energy of people praying to the wrong God, it doesn't matter as long as they're feeding it energy. If they're feeding it in ignorance, they can use it. Whatever. It's like hypothecating a signature. Well, if you didn't understand what you were signing, too bad. So if you didn't understand what you were praying to, too bad. You gave us your energy. And that's what I see it as a funneling of energy of mindless people, and they're totally mindless, when you're dealing with fundamentalists and what have you. I mean, Christian, Muslim, or whatever, it doesn't matter. You get a fundamentalist. I don't care what stripe you have on. You get a reason enough, you'll strap a bomb on too. Yeah. Promise. That's what fundamentalists do. But anyway, there's the basic rundown on that. Does that work for you, Karen?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Oh yeah, and guys, don't worry about it. I need people. Don't ever worry about what you say. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. It doesn't matter. Either one works. I'm neutral.
Michael Cesarian did a good couple papers on the energy produced from large crowds like that, like from Queen concerts and rock concerts.
Huge energy.
Yeah, I read those, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago.
So I
just wanted to thank you so much. I've learned a tremendous amount just listening to your shows and of course all of Santos's videos as well. And I had a spiritual awakening when transiting Uranus went into opposition to my natal sun. And since then I've been studying astrology, and I do have some enlightening things to talk to you about on your chart, because you're going to have a very good year. The upcoming year, it's not going to start till August, but after that, you're supposed to have a very good year.
Well, that's good news.
Yeah. Okay.
Damn, you got to wait till August.
Oh, it doesn't matter. That's my oldest daughter's birthday month. So.
Cool.
But Kate, remember, good year compared to what?
Exactly. Right. I mean, we're talking infinity here. So
Right.
Yes. What is happening in August?
Oh, here, just a sec, Tony. Before you jump in, I was going to hopefully. I was going to ask you hopefully to kind of elaborate in August. But here we go. We got 5 minutes left. If anybody wants to call in to listen to the rollover, which we're going to roll into, this is too good not to. Call in now, area code 661-467-2401, or refresh the page you're listening to and click the Skype button. You've got to do it in less than 5 minutes here. We've got 4 minutes and 30 seconds, because once the show goes into recording, you cannot call in. All right, and big thank you to criticalmassradio.co.uk, Paul, Lisa, and the crew at Critical Mass, all the hosts there and everything else. Thank you guys so much for giving us this platform where we all can gather and share what we need to. This is why we're here. This is getting all the stuff on the table. And not everything that we're talking about is going to be easy to swallow. And I guarantee you, I'm going to pull some really, really large red pills onto the table. You don't have to eat them, but I will present them.
Bring a knife.
Bring a knife. Take a little piece. Take as much as you can handle. Because what Carol said is absolutely right. You're not going to
snort it.
Exactly. You're not going to eat an elephant in one sitting. But I'll tell you, with enough determination and enough time, you'll be picking the bones.
Yeah. It depends how hungry you are.
Me, I was ravenous. I ate the whole pig in one shot.
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one thing in there real quick.
I've been eating pig since 95.
I was inhaling when you said that.
One thing real quick. Dr. Bruce Lipton is doing some wonderful work. That would be something for some people to check out.
Okay, what's his background? Then we'll get Tony to chime in on August.
He's a cellular biologist. Doing this work for over 30 years. Just look up DrBruceLipton.com. Very good information.
Good stuff. Tony.
Yeah, indeed. Just on the Bruce situation, just to give you an example, he had 3 Chinese holistic practitioners or Reiki healers, and they actually watched in real time. How pregnant women get scans of the
ultrasound.
Ultrasound, yeah. So basically, they took some pictures of the internal tumours on a woman that was diagnosed with terminal cancer, and basically, so they had the information there. And then they recorded a video of what was going on inside the woman's body while the 3 practitioners were actually chanting the words to the effect of, "It's already gone, already gone, already gone." And
was that a video?
Yeah, it's Greg. That's a Greg Braden video.
I've seen that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So
another amazing video I've seen was called Acidic Blood. And I recommend everybody watching that if you really want to grab a hold of your health, the pH balance of your blood.
You better get alkaline.
Yeah.
So Tony,
it's amazing.
Sorry, Tony is very, very polite. He will not jump in, so I kind of have to drag him in. So what were you going to say about August?
Well, Santos' tour, basically. It's looking really good. It looks like we're going to have some build-up venues through the couple of first weeks in August. He's going to be doing, Santos is going to be doing Stonehenge from the 22nd to the 26th, and after which we'll be doing some more tours throughout the UK. Then we're off to other European countries, so it's going to be pretty fascinating stuff.
Good stuff. Hey, now the guys that are on the call, you know what I get to hear at the end of the show. Isn't that fun, eh? Try talking with that going off in the background.
Sounded like a nuclear bomb warning.
Oh, I know, eh? She's loud, baby. 90 seconds! Tick-tock, wait for a bit. You know, anyway, but... no, it's yeah. There's I mean, we've all got a lot of questions that we want to answer, and me no less than anyone else. And all I'm trying to do is bring to the table from as neutral. This is where I fight to be, and it's not easy on this. Trust me. To give people something to look at, and it's not about. And I really need people to understand this. It's not about being right or wrong. I don't care. I've guaranteed I've been wrong more times than you guys. And that's how I found truth. And it's only when we can let go of that paradigm, needing to be right and not wanting to be wrong, that keeps us running in this. Exactly. It keeps the snake eating itself. So I'm just kind of puking my own tail out here, okay? I'm done devouring myself.
Every time I get slammed by a court, I look at it as what did I do wrong? I did something wrong here.
Yeah, you know.
I've experienced many stories where people have, got their way in court in a way, or were able to deflect the attack.
It's called lottery win.
Yeah, but the most consistent is the people that do not consent from the very beginning. Those are the people that really consistently deflect these attacks.
Totally.
Exactly. It's like what other people don't understand. That little 2.5-minute video was the culmination of a 7.5-hour standoff. I've got to upload the recording from the morning before court when they only had the one bailiff in there. The first guy, the little coward sitting behind the bench there in the video. You got the other two that backed away from me when I told them to. Yeah. And that other guy. First thing, I call it the hat wave, and of course I wore a ball cap, right? And if you notice in the video, I'm still wearing it. It tells me what to wear. Screw off. Anyway, I should have wore heels that day. Never mind. Anyway, it would have been a whole lot more fun, I think. But the bottom line is, here's part of the story that people don't get, and this is, it was my own fault for not bringing it up as often as I should. But I have a recording. It's not very clear until you hear the ding, ding, ding of the court starting. And when you hear me interacting with this other bailiff, the first bailiff, he's standing in the doorway. I'm standing in the court, and I'm not leaving it. I already claimed it as common law, and that layer hadn't been peeled yet. And he was standing there, chomping at the bit. But I'll tell you, he came up to me the first time when I went in and sat down. And he pointed at his head, right? I'm looking at him. I know what he means, right? And he said something about the hat, right? And I said, sorry, I can't hear you. And he pointed his head again, and he said, the hat. He says, you have a headache. oh, the hat? No, that's fine. I like my hat. It's all good. Yeah, thank you. And when he came over, started talking about, well, you have to take it off and this, that, and the other. I said, well, okay, is that an order? And he said, well, yes, it is. And I said, well, okay, I'm going to have to bill you $300 for that. I don't feel builders getting paid. Sorry, that's, going to McDonald's, right? That whole mentality, And
offer and acceptance.
Exactly, right? He made an offer, and I said, no, I'm not into it. Thanks very much, unless you want to pay. So
I could have seen the look on that face.
Oh yeah, you'll hear it when I get this thing uploaded. You'll hear it in his voice because the whole courtroom is filled with people, and it's just me standing at the doorway with this guy. The judge is already sitting down. Everyone's all rise because he wanted me to come over. Of course we didn't, but anyway, he motioned me over to the door because when he first came up to me, talking to me about the hat and whatever, he got a call over his radio, and I shit you not, if I could get the program to do this, I could pull this out. You could hear him say it. His radio went off as he was leaning down to talk to me, and somebody was calling him, and he looked at me square in the eyes and he said, "By your leave." I'm not kidding. He said, "By your leave." He took 3 steps backwards, then he turned and left.
Oh, that's
yeah,
another bow.
Yeah, absolutely. It was full of. I like bows, bows,
yeah.
Whatever, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, standing at the doorway, it was an interaction again about the hat, and I had actually went down to the notary and sworn a peace officer oath, and so I had this really cool document. It was good then; it's useless now, but that layer hadn't been peeled yet, so I was playing their lottery, and they weren't showed too many cards in their hand at this point. And I wouldn't leave. And of course, the room is silent except us two talking. But you visualize 100+ people sitting behind me in a fairly tight room. The judge is sitting at the bench. All the clerks, all the Crown attorneys, and we're talking some older guys that have been around for a bit, and they're just standing in complete awe of what was going down. And I have that recording. Thankfully, someone had a audio recorder going during it and caught very very noisy in the first interaction. Well, I'd love to be able to pull it out, but that's what he said to me. He said, you hear the radio go off, and he said to me, "By your leave." He stepped back 3 times, 3 paces, turned, walked away. Oh. And you know how the story ended. But we went out for a break. All right, they were calling for a recess, and the same bailiff came up to me and said, "Well, we have to go get lunch." And I said, "Okay, well, I'm just maintaining my jurisdiction, that I'm not leaving it, that when I walk out this door, my jurisdiction stays here, and when I return, it's here with me. You do understand me?" He goes, "Yes." I said, "Okay, okay, good that we have an understanding." I said, "Oh, we have an understanding, but I don't like it." And I said, "Well, I'm not here to fucking please you." Sorry. You're the one. There was no text. Oh, what's that?
It has to just throw them off because they're in that day in, day out mode like that with that machinery just constantly going, and something like that is just discombobulate their whole,
Yeah, non-compliance really fucks with them.
Oh yeah, and here's the story of the other bailiff that I owned, the lady. Okay, we were coming in. They brought these 2 in special for me during that little recess lunch thing that they were doing, right? And of course I said hi when they're coming up the walk. One did anyway. Anyway, so I went back in, and then there was another room off to the right where you go and pay parking fines and all the rest of it. Just their pay trough. Anyway, there was a water fountain in there, and I just went in to fill up my water bottle and grab a drink. And who was in there? She was just me and her. And I said, "Hey, how's it going?" She said, "Oh, pretty good." And I said, "You do understand I'm sovereign, right?" And she went, her head dropped. She said, "Yes, I do." Nailed her. And opened the door for her. I said, let her through, right? So we went in there. That's why she cleared the courtroom. She was actually, as soon as I grabbed, the third one by silence, acquiescence, I owned all 3 bailiffs at that point, and I could have had the judge arrested. Okay? He was already safe. One was safe behind the bar, out of my jurisdiction. That's why he didn't get up to take the document. And a friend of mine, George, grabbed it and threw it on there is the birth certificate. And she had already bolted over to the door outside of the courtroom jurisdiction, and the only one that was left was Mr. Silent. And I said, that's when you see me turn to my left, and I said, well, this guy, he doesn't like to talk much. That's when the judge went, "Call for a recess. I'm out of here," because I owned this third one at that point. The other 2 were offside already, but I still had one, and that's when he bolted. So I know why, and there's many other reasons. So I had to really dig into this because there was no one more fun than I. Trust me. One, there was no ticket at all. This was just a challenge. That's all it was. They tried to serve me 3 times. I have 2 of the attempts on video because they happened at the same time. As it turns out, my daughter's soccer coach, one of the assistant coaches, Steve, the bailiff, was parked in my driveway. This was the same day I had taken my peace officer oath, and I had a buddy in the car, and I had the camera running. And here's a guy that knew me personally, and asked me if I was this name and that. He says, "Come on, Steve, you know that I'm not that. That's a person. That's a Christian. You know that's not well." And he says right on camera, "Well, then this is not for you then." I said, "I know." So I pulled up behind his car, and I says, "Yeah, well, what would you like me to do?" And I said, "Well, one, you're going to get your car off my land, or as it sits right now, I can claim it, but I'm not going to be a prick about it, right?" And this is cocky, arrogant days, right? Anyway, so I pulled the truck out. He backed his car out across the street and ended up calling a couple of Guelph's finest Goonies. And the end of that story ended very quickly where, well, I believe this is you. Well, you can believe in whatever you want. I don't believe in Santa Claus, right? And he went over and he served it to a rock, put it on the front lawn, and nothing to do with me. And I tell you, I never saw the document. It ended up turning back into dirt eventually. But that was the 3rd attempt. The first attempt was a couple of I call them baby cops, the bylaw enforcement guys, trying to be all piss and vinegar. Lord, I have by the authority of City of Guelph. I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Guelph, I've never seen Mr. or Mrs. City of Guelph. Can you, please bring them here so I, authority?" Anyway, I ended up kicking them off my land. The 2 things they served, tried to serve, were documents, one for me and one for my, ex-wife that I hadn't lived there. She hadn't lived there in a year. That just goes to prove a lot of peppermint stuff about bonds and getting into these agreements. That's another story. But they didn't even fill out the back of the thing. there was requirement for them to actually have to think and do their job, and they didn't fill it. So that's why they ended up sending out the bailiff, because they realized the error of their ways.
I've never had a piece of document or a piece of paper, nothing with a signature of a judge, prosecutor. I know, and I love it because Susan and I said, well, we're just not going to engage them, and let's see how long it takes for them to drive their head into the sand. And we've been 8 months, and we've walked into that courtroom 6 times, and no one will even look at us. They call our names, and they say, okay, next month.
Aren't they supposedly having, I read somewhere where they're having training their people now on how to deal with these sovereign issues and the people, and for what that's worth, I don't know. But they know it's a problem now, which to them is a problem.
It's not only a problem, but over here in the States, the federal courts have shut down on Fridays, and they won't even listen to any cases. They're down to skeleton people. They are not taking any new cases whatsoever. And I dug up a 2000, I can't remember the month, but in 2000, the Supreme Court of the United States heard a case concerning the sovereign man in the United States versus the corporation of the United States. And in their determining, in that hearing, or that case, and I'm sorry I don't have the documentation in front of me, but it was determined at that point by the Supreme Court of the United States that the corporation of the United States had no jurisdiction over the sovereign man.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever, and they had there's no way they could take their statutes and codes, which are contracts, and enforce them over the citizens, the sovereign citizens of this country, and it's already been ruled on.
Yeah.
And
well,
that's
again,
the thing.
I do want to. I want to clear up a couple of things very quickly here. One, you can't be a sovereign citizen. You know that. You can't be king and slave at the same time. That's one of their monikers.
Yep.
So,
I've had it pinned on me.
Well, yeah, they got a pin. That's what their Manchurian candidates, also known as law enforcement officers, have been programmed. these are the trigger words I speak of. Free man on the land, sovereign citizen. It's like no. I'm sorry. If there's anything, I'm freeborn.
Well, here's what it is with me, just so you know. When I was about 11 years old, I excommunicated myself from the Catholic Church. When I was 15 years old, I took myself out of the public school system, and my father told me that if you didn't have a job and a place to live, then you were on your own, so I left home. And I had been walking free on this planet for over 40 years. And I don't need a document or I know the understanding. I know the whole thing. I've done this for many years, researching this. And I just walk on my own spirit and my own heart. And it works for me.
Well, Steve, I gotta ask you. You got a copy of I Who Shall Not Be Named?
Yes, sir. Or yes, ma'am.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
I know. I just told Susan, and I said, "Damn it! I hate screwing up like that, and I'm so sorry."
All right.
Oh, you're a beautiful spirit. I love you, my friend.
Well, you can't be a complete spirit unless you're a man and a woman. Come on now.
Well, you got that right, and I've been down those roads too. So, I've been in this thing for a long time. It's just so wonderful to have this technology and this ability to connect with wonderful people. I've walked this planet by myself for many years.
I have a favor to ask of you.
Yes, my friend.
You still have a case file open, yeah?
Oh, frick yeah, man!
Okay,
I wanted to take it all the way down. I'm on that.
Okay, well, here's the favor I would like to ask of you. You've got the document and you've read through it. I know you can make it your own. What I would love you to do is, so anything I send out, it's what I do for me. But if people totally get it, all they got to do is change out the names on it, the all caps.
Sure.
So what I was going to ask you, if you'd be interested, just for, shits and giggles, you know how to stand. End of story.
Oh, I do that very well, yeah.
Okay, so this is why I'm asking you. If you would be so kind as to maybe print something like that up, throw a little red box on it just for fun, and again, put your own little sigil, if you will, and toss it into the case file just to see what kind of shenanigans go on. That'll spam out, I promise you.
Oh, well, I do understand that, and I may, and Susan and I have talked about this.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I have walked alone in this world for a long time. Well, not alone, because we're all connected.
Yeah.
But this involved, they infringed upon my wife's freedom.
Yeah.
And I have to protect that lady at all costs, because she is what she is.
Absolutely.
Now, that's why I have not engaged them, because I know how to handle this.
I know you do. I know.
I don't mean to make this sound wrong, but I've spent many hours, months, time, whatever, figuring this out, and I've got them on the balls, and I know it. Okay, they've already admitted to it.
Absolutely. The only thing
go ahead.
No, go ahead, Stephen.
Well, what I was going to say is I can't jeopardize my wife's position. I got her out the first night that we spent in the jail, because they arrested, handcuffed, and tasered me and all that, and I got her out the first night. But I spent 21 days in there, and it was a wonderful experience. I wouldn't want to do it again, but I'm sure the hell glad I did it that time.
Yeah, it gave you a different pair of eyes. That's why.
Oh my goodness!
When I talk to people that have even spent a night or two, they get a real different insight into the machinations of the robots, and you get the opportunity, of course, to share your wealth of knowledge. Yeah.
And I had a man come up to me Thursday that was in there with me and thanked me for being there with him for that time.
Absolutely. Yeah. One of the things in that document I made very clear is they can have all their ownership possessions that they want. I would like my energy back. Thank you.
And I agree with that. And here's where I'm sitting at right now. They were notified Thursday that here's the deal. Either dismiss the charges against us on June the 6th, or we will do a jury trial, and then you have to admit what you had already admitted to us, that you have no evidence, and you'll have to call your deputy a liar. So what I'm doing, and I understand what you're doing, and I really do, But what I'm doing is I'm standing where I told these men that I spent these 21 days with, I told them what I was going to do for them. That I was going to stand up in that courtroom, and I was going to make all the honesty, all the love, all the respect that's in my heart, I'm going to make that known to everybody, and it will stand its own ground.
And the joy of that, and there's very few people out there, you're one of them, very few people out there that can stand in that particular light. And what you're actually doing more than anything else, from my observation, is you are educating those within that don't know what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
When I was there Thursday, I was having a conversation with some people outside the courthouse about the corporate status of the judicial system, the government, and all. An attorney who was listening in, I could see him standing off a little ways. He went inside and sat down, so when Susan and I went in the courthouse, he was sitting himself in the chair, and we acknowledged each other, and I walked over there, and I said, hi, my name's Steve Mahon, and are you from around here? And he said, no. I said, but you are a lawyer, aren't you? And he said, oh, yes, I am. I said, well, that's good. I said, do you realize that the courtroom upstairs is a corporate proceeding? And that is, it's under admiralty law. It's not common law court. And he basically said to me, man, this thing is so screwed up. I hate even being a lawyer because I try to do things and it's not working out. And so I said, well, okay, let me give you a 5-minute, I said I could talk for hours, but let me give you a 5-minute segue into what's going on. So I told him, I said, go on Dun & Bradstreet, type in County, Missouri. It's going to come up as a corporation with 13 subsidiaries, including the judicial system, who's traded under 2 different names. And he looked at me and he kind of smiled. He goes, really? He said, I know this thing's fucked up. And I said, well, you go back to your office and you look this up, and if you'll do just that, then that'll be the beginning. I said, because when all this is done, we're going to need people like you who want to stand up and represent human beings under common law, under universal law, under if I haven't harmed you, if I haven't fucked with your property, then just stay out of my space, you know?
Yeah, again, trespass issue, right?
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to me that night. I told them, sons of bitches, you're trespassing. You know, get the hell off my property. You're acting unlawfully. Well, not illegally, but unlawfully.
Here's what I got out of your statement there. I'll show you the big intuition trigger. When he said, I started saying, it's all screwed up, and there's things that I can't do. And everything. See, what's happening now is with all of this getting released and the information getting into the consciousness or the Akashic, whatever you want to refer to it as, what's happening is it's now seeping very, very deeply within them. And we're lining them up inside where even their own lawyers that don't know what's going on are starting to get their heads shaken. Because there's very few in their system that really, truly know what's going on.
That's very true, Kate. That is what's going on.
Mm-hmm. I know firsthand. Here's a good one for you. Since I've lost 3 of my businesses and been foreclosed on property and went from 3-figure or 6 figures, whatever, down to don't need no money. I'm helping a buddy of mine out that's got, I live out in a county that's only got, less than 20,000 people in it. And so I'm helping him run his cattle herd. And he's a retired union electrician, totally democratic. I went to his Obama party in 2008, okay? And I've been trying to educate him. He's a really neat guy. And the other day, Rolling Stone magazine come out with, I don't know if you've seen the article they came out with about a week or 10 days ago.
What's his name? Matt?
Yes, Matt. Yeah. Kind of a weird last name.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, Tabby or something like that.
Matt Tibby.
There you go. Really, really good. And the first 2 lines, I think, in the second line, he said, "We apologize to all the conspiracy theorists," And and I was telling him about that, and he thinks I'm just a ludicrous, And so a couple of days later, I go over there. We're going to work some cattle, and he was so excited for me to get there. He couldn't wait for me to get in my truck. And he says, "Steve," he said, he watches MSNBC, And he said they spent 20 minutes talking about this article from Rolling Stone magazine, and he said they asked him, why haven't we heard this on the regular media? And he said the answer is because they spent $2 billion
to make
paying
sure
these guys off to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, to make sure it wasn't talked about.
Yeah, he goes, Steve, you're still crazy, but at least believe some of what you say now. It's
well, that's the thing, and it was interesting. The one night had Dean on the call. It was I think Dean, myself, and so I was actually on Santo's show, and the point came up. I'm trying to remember where I was going now. That's what I get for trying to explain what and when, right? But
okay.
Yeah, it's actually about being. Isn't it neat that now we, the conspiracy theorists, the truthers, are the cool ones.
35 years of this shit, my friend.
I know. Like I said, I got off light. I only lost everything, and it was only over the last year and a half. So I mean, I got off light.
You want to hear a real good one?
Mm-hmm.
In 1987, actually it was December of '86. I decided that I was going to get into the world of investments and money. And so I contracted with Prudential Insurance Company, the largest insurance company, and so I got my NASD securities license in '87, right before Black Monday, October 19th of 1987.
Yeah, good timing.
Oh yeah, it was great for me because I kind of got thrown in there for a reason. Prudential was pushing very hard a securities life insurance policy. It was just a really screwed up thing. And I'd go to these conventions where there'd be 200-300 agents there being taught how to sell this investment policy. It was a mutual fund and life insurance policy, basically. And they were promoting 18% returns, 20% returns. And I'm here I am, just a country boy stuck into this this tricks of people that are supposed to be selling investment products. And I'd stand up when the actuaries would come on and say, now wait a minute, I'm looking at these policies and the loads are really heavy and there's no way I can see these returns coming out. And I finally got to the point where they asked me to quit talking when I went to conventions. And I resigned from Prudential in 1992. And I went to the woods and bought 40 acres of timber and built a cabin in there and burnt my suits and ties and telephones. And I got a piece of mail in about 95, I think it was, or 96, where they were asking me to try to represent them because there was a class action lawsuit. And I think it was in 96, Prudential got nailed for millions and millions of dollars where they had to return all this money. And that's when I decided that, I got involved in this because I was supposed to expose this. Energy does a lot of great things. It isn't that you've ever accomplished anything or you're ever going to get noted for anything, but if you put the energy into it, it's gonna work.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. And and people that have listened for a long time know that. One sec. I just saw Santo. Hang on.
Oh, cool. It's been 11 o'clock yesterday since I've heard from him.
Well,
no, he's still not online.
He's still not online. No, somebody else had tried to pull me into a call. So
last time I heard from him was 11 o'clock yesterday.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, I forgot what I was going to say there.
I'm still here.
Mentioned Dean.
Yeah. Actually, we got a couple other. We still got like 40 minutes or 33 minutes anyway. For those that haven't had a say, why don't you guys jump in and again all the lines are open, guys. So
I've been listening because you guys are entrenched in this and very knowledgeable, and I know bits and pieces of a lot of this stuff, but still learning. And
so am I. I mean,
and I just now I know I need to know more because I know I'm going to have a battle soon with the IRS. I just know it.
No, you're not.
Well, actually, they got their money, but they're real tricky about it because me and my wife separated for 2 years, but we're still legally married, and I actually owe them $1,400, but they took it from her. So.
Okay, you want something from the IRS from me?
Wait for it.
Okay. Okay, here we go. 1992. I had a little pest control business going in Lake of the Ozarks here in Missouri. And,
I used to do that a long time ago.
Yeah, it's a cool place. Well, that's where I was growed up at. But anyhow, I got behind with them for a tune of about $4,400 when I was trying to put my business together with that interest crap that Reagan was doing. And so it ballooned up to about $45,000. And in about 1988, I think it was, they sent me a letter, one of them fear-mongering letters that says if you don't pay or set up a payment arrangement, we're going to come kill your firstborn.
Yeah.
And so I sent them $50. That was in like about 88. And I found out in 1991, when I was going through my divorce, that that was when they changed the IRS rulings and to where they could go back farther. They could only go back like 5 years until then. And if I hadn't sent them that $50, they'd have had to write my taxes off. My $45,000 been written off. Well, they kept me on the hook until 91, and I settled a $45,000 debit to the assholes from Puerto Rico for $6,000. I paid it in 91. But the IRS was kicked out of this country by the Supreme Court, and I think it was 1938. I think it was the same year the ATF kicked out of this country as being an unlawful corporation. That's why we have the territory of Puerto Rico.
Yeah, they had to take it offshore.
Well, that's where the IRS and the ATF are corporate. Oh, fucking A, man. And, so don't let them put any fear into you. If you want to buck up, now would be the time to buck up with them.
They're very good at threatening. I mean, that entity to me is the most corrupt. I mean, mafia-like.
Well, think about it. Yeah, exactly, mafia. Okay, the mafia comes in, into your neighborhood, right, and comes in to get their protection money from you, right? And you say, well, you owe me $4,500, right? And so, well, I haven't got it, right? So they leave. Then they put interest on it. It's just, it's like a criminal charging interest because they're trying to steal something from you, and because you wouldn't give up what wasn't theirs anyway, because they're just trying to steal it. I mean, think about it, guys. They're throwing interest on a theft attempt.
Right. It is theft. It is exactly theft.
My first victory back in the 2000s was CRA. I shut them down. I got 0 filings. I have the documents. I got the blue papers to prove it. I even put them online, and people still argued, well, no, it doesn't work. Okay, well, it doesn't work now because those layers got peeled. And what I was saying about people like Steve is he can walk in there, regardless of how many layers get peeled off, because he can hand them their asses on a silver platter whenever he feels like it.
Thank you. That's what I told my wife. Is I said, we're going to do this the way I decided to do it. We're going to stand in our own spot. Now, if things don't go the way I think they're going to go, I can kick their ass anytime I want to.
Yeah, well, and I will be very humble about this. You've got an ace in your back pocket just for shits and giggles.
I do understand that, my love, very much.
And I see your point, Steve, too, also about having to protect her, because in this system that they operate under, you are as one with her. And what they try to do to you, they'll try to get her. They'll try.
Well, that's actually what they're after, and I'm glad you brought that up. What they're after, the divine feminine. I'm going to go spiritual on your asses for a minute now, so bear with me. Okay, this was what I was after from day one. I wanted to find out how they claimed the divine feminine, the register, right? Register. That's what to rule the divine, creative, feminine, spiritual essence. That's what that word means. And they had to. That's why the female, as Tammy has made it unequivocally clear, is the special deposit or the unpositive. Of course, negative. She's the special creator. Only in the void of the feminine can creation happen, and they have to basically use that energy. This is so difficult to explain, but that's why in any relationship, marriage especially, is what they want to do is to get, especially in divorces, they want to get the female to make the court their daddy, and that's why God, for so many years, it got disemboweled in every court case. It's not the same now because that divine spiritual essence is being claimed back by both parties, male and female. This is where I'm seeing the paradigm shift. So what Stephen is doing with regards to his wife, standing as her, quote, daddy, unquote, if you want to go legal terms on it, he is standing as the executor of the estate, and she is the special deposit, and only Stephen can protect her.
Well, I know before in my case, I mean, she's literally called me in tears before, because she's always, submitted to these things that they send her. Any place can just send her a bill, and she's on how to pay it or what she can do. And when she dealt with the IRS, she was just literally in tears and said, "What am I going to do? I can't pay this. I can't do this. I can't do that." And I just felt like, my hands were tied in a way, but I knew there was a way. I knew.
They went after her because she is the money. You're still,
right.
Whether you're divorced or not, are still connected to that in the spiritual contract.
Yeah, we're still legally, technically married.
Well, even if you weren't, like even my ex, that's why her name is on this document, because I'm nullifying that register as well. All those that I have those contracts with are on that list.
Yeah. Right?
Because I had to, as within, so without, so I went from parents to children, all points between the Trinity, the Father, the Mother, the Child. Right? And this is how I've always dealt things, and why I've had such a difficult time trying to explain my position to people, because it's coming at it from a completely etheric, spiritual perspective. Nothing physical, because, well, we got messed up enough here, I think. So I decided to step right outside that box. Mm-hmm. Hope that wasn't us getting knocked off the air. Can you
just for reference, you did go quiet for a moment there, Kate.
Okay, well,
maybe everybody needed to be quiet for a minute.
Well, of course, it doesn't matter whether we're on the air or off. We're recording and still getting uploaded into the Akashic. That's how powerful we are. So keep talking. It's making a difference.
It is.
Still hear me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You're still there.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, Tony, did you have a comment you want to make, or?
No, I'm just chilling with the conversation. I've been having a quick chat with Steve in the background.
Oh, okay. All right.
We've got an incredible network of people that we're logged into here, Steve. You need to really connect in with us guys. This is all good stuff.
Oh, Hillbilly Steve, I've known him for a while. He's got his feet firmly planted on the ground. Nothing's going to shake that boy.
Well, I was gonna. Oh, the phone's ringing too. Hold on.
There you go.
To mute myself.
No worries.
Back in a minute, guys.
No worries.
Well, I know one thing. I know it's got to be a central nightmare for the system to know that people are waking up, because can you imagine? I mean, just every single court case, every single person coming in that has this knowledge and has this, what would they do?
Well, that's the joy of this. Now I'm going to make my spiritual point again. The point of this is, once the puzzle is found by anyone, it matters for everyone. This is why these hash-out sessions are so critical, because when everyone or anyone gets an epiphany or an aha moment, because it's yours, it still matters for all, because you're getting it from a completely different perspective of the consciousness. I want to urge Carol and Trace and I don't know who else is in the call here. Everybody jump in here, guys.
Oh my gosh, honey, this has been one of the best calls I've listened to. I mean, it's not the only best call, but I got so much information from all of you guys. Thank you, every one of you, for coming in and helping to educate us. That's so needed, and I love it. I love all of you.
Yeah. We do it together. That's it. We do this together.
Well, it's really hard what you guys have been through, and we all have been through our own pile of you-know-what, but I tell you what, you, Kate, to me, have given the ultimate, and then listening to Steve, oh my gosh, what a wonderful spirit this man has. And Tony, and who is the other gentleman that's on with you, too? I guess
Michael.
I did. Michael.
Mike, yes.
Michael, God bless you, all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm hungry for this kind of stuff. I love this. Thank you.
Yeah, all good, and
yes, it is.
I gotta, and this is why, it's so critical to get the information out. And yeah, absolutely, Carol, I may come across as brutally harsh, and someone has to. All right, this is the only way I look at it. Someone has to. People take it and use it, whether they feel guilty or not. Is not, to me, is not relevant. What is relevant is getting whatever information I have accrued over my experience that is what I perceive to be valuable. I put it out there, and what people do with it, like Steve said earlier, it's so true. If you can't make it yours in your own heart, you're the only one that can do that. All I can offer is what I've given from mine and what I've taken into my heart, and what I've had to stand in to expose what I have exposed. And what Stephen is doing is he's going in with a very sharp scalpel, and he's got I see a very specific role for what he's doing, and he is educating more people within their system just by having 5-minute chats with lawyers. And the biggest thing I got out of what he was saying tonight was the fact that the lawyer said, well, there's things we can do now, and just that, and not that I needed to prove a point, but it proves my point that they are awakening within, and that so many that we, call out as this, that, and the other, vengeance type, don't even know. They've been duped, and I've said this many times, those within the system are duped so much more than we are.
Yeah.
So I take that blessing. And people like Stephen are going to walk into a courtroom or into a courthouse. Whether or not I will agree with that is not relevant. No, that's not something I would do. But that's something that Steve would do. He knows how to do it, and he's doing it with the right intent. He is skinning the beast in his own special down country boy way. Mm-hmm. And that is what I'm talking about. That is the difference between having the intent to do that from that perspective, just going in and trying to be belligerent and kicking the shit out of everybody. Right?
Well, the thing is he knows what he's about. He understands the background and the tools. He's got the tools to do it, and I guess that's what we're all lacking is the tools, how to progress.
You're not lacking anything. This is what see what Stephen is doing. You don't have to. What I've done, you don't have to. You have your piece. I have mine. The joy of this is when my piece has been uncovered. This is how relevant everyone in this consciousness is. When I do something that solves one thing within their system, it solves it for everybody. I watched the court system change with emails I sent. I mean that.
Not in my head, because I just had that aha moment. It just dawned on me what you've been trying to say all along.
And that's it. You don't need... See, this is why we're not in competition here. We're in creation here. Because something that gets said tonight that may have no relevance to me in terms of an epiphany, it might have been something I've already had and I'm just explaining it, but for someone else that gets something, that aha moment, you just changed the universe, butterfly. Tsunami's on its way.
That's right. The piece that you're talking about is each one of us.
Yes. You are the 100th monkey. You are creation itself. How can you not be? We're the all-in-one, one in all. We're just different perspectives, little sparks of the all-spark. We're all one. So what you do is part of my mind, as what I do is part of yours.
Well, that's the beautiful thing about your calls, yours and Tony's calls here, is that you're bringing us together, and you have wonderful numbers, evidently. And my God, there's not been a forum like this that I've been aware of where we can come together and hash this stuff out and share our little experiences or big experiences, whichever we've been, subjected to. And it's wonderful to see the spirit that you people have. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a gentleman by the name of Daryl Freck.
No.
Steve, Steve, you might have.
He went off to a call, so I'm not sure if he's here.
Oh, he didn't come back yet. Okay.
Well, I just muted myself. No, I had not heard of him. No, I had not.
He was with our call for 12 weeks in 2010, and he went to prison for 8 years, and his wife Sally went to prison for 5 years. They were part of the farm claim, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Do you remember the farm claims? Yeah.
Oh,
well, they went all over the western United States and helped people file farm claims, and so they put a lot of the farm claims people in jail. But he was with us, and our calls with him are archived out of Germany. And I wonder if that was the case you were talking about that went to the Supreme Court. I wanted to jump in and ask that, but I'll ask it now. Do you know? He wrote a case while he was in prison that went to the Supreme Court to open the doors for the Nasara laws to be implemented, and they finally came out of the Supreme Court in 2002 in favor of the free man, or the sovereign person, or sovereign man, I guess is what you said. And they started assessing in 2002. It took them 9 years. I got a call from him in 2011. They had finally assessed the financial damage to our people that the dark had done, and it is huge. Let me tell you, it's in the many trillions of dollars. And they started seizing assets of the dark agenda in 2011, and they're still trying to get all this put together. So I know that there's things happening behind the scenes that a lot of people don't understand about. And I hope you guys do. I hope you all do.
One sec, guys, before you get going here. We got about 13 minutes left. Another caller, just want to let them know that they're in the call. Area code 303. And also, we're going to continue this tomorrow night, because this is important, very relevant information.
Okay, well, here's what I'm going to say this real quick, and then I'll mute myself out. You can take what she was just saying about that back to, I believe it was 1986. The Reagan-Bush era, we all know about Bush, and when, what's the guy's name from the Philippines, Marcos?
Oh yeah, Ferdinand Marcos.
Yeah, and you can take that back a step further to prior to the World War II, when the confiscation of the Chinese gold bullion was taken out by the Japanese, and they buried it in the Philippines, and Marcos had found part of it, and that was Vice President Bush's agenda. Marcos found part of that, and that's how he got so rich so quick. And that goes into reevaluating the dollar after we got out of the gold standard in '71. So this just keeps going back. It's deep. All we got to do is have love in our hearts, and it don't matter how much you know or don't know. Okay.
Agreed.
Well, Steve, I have to tell you. Steve, I have to tell you, I love your spirit. Your spirit really speaks to my heart, and I'm so happy you came on this call tonight and shared what you have. You're very brave, you're very knowledgeable, and it's infective. In other words, it really gets the spark of wanting to know more and listen to you more about this stuff. Thank you so much.
I live out in the woods. Thank you, but I live out in the woods with my wife. Except when the cops come down and taser me and call me off to the county jail.
I'm so sorry.
Anyway, love y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and mute off.
I'm gonna mute out too, and let Kate carry it on out here. Thank you guys so much.
Love you, Mike.
Yeah, well, we'll catch it tomorrow. And Michael, you had a point you wanted to make there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you spoke earlier in the earlier show about fear porn and the fear stuff, and when we see all the time on Facebook and other venues where people will post things either about martial law or look what they're doing now, and oh my God, this is happening, and they're taking away this and they're doing it. But in that aha moment I realized that's the truth. There's nothing to fear. What you're looking at is them becoming desperate.
Absolutely.
As their last attempts to hold on.
And look how many more attempts they've got. None.
Yeah,
this house of cards is coming down, and we get to be part of it. Every one of you. Every single one of you. Oh, go ahead, Casey.
The truth is, it's that simple. It's just trickery.
Exactly.
That's what I was going to say there. That's the type of thing that they pull on your attention with, and that needs to be watched. You know, what's pulling your attention? What are the voices that are manifesting as well under the physical? What are the voices that you're listening to in the mind that are manifesting themselves?
And how many of those are walk-ins? How many of those are, you know, the times you give away your free will and trespass on another dimension and brought something back with you that you didn't think you had, you know, and you can clear that yourself, and that's just becoming aware of it. And
so that's take responsibility for where we put our attention, where we let it go as well.
You know, and
we empower it.
Exactly, and that's why, and you've heard me rant often enough about it. So I, you know, granted, yeah, we'll cover a couple of little things here and there, but I don't want to focus on it for what it is. I want to focus on it for what we've done to create it as an image of their own fear. They're living in their own image, fear. Right?
Exactly. Nothing needs to be said or done about it, kids. You know, to me, whenever those things were coming onto my page and Facebook as well, I was just like, you know, I don't need to say anything about it, just delete it. Get rid of it.
Absolutely.
Don't give it your attention or credence. That's it.
I will say, I in an etherical level, I am getting hammered daily. Like hammered. You know, and I tell you, it's like I am chomping at the bit until 7 p.m. here. Because I know as soon as I'm there, I don't have to, you know, sit here and deflect all sorts of crap coming at me. Because the intention is getting poured forth. And the only comparison I can make to it is the harder things are coming at me in an etherical sense, and I'm talking some pretty, you know, I'm a very, very, how would I put this? I'm a target of interest, let's say, right? And I know what it is. I know the thoughts getting railed at me are not mine. I know, you know, and these are the things I'm fighting off daily. And
that's what everyone needs to know. Everyone needs to know is those thoughts, they're coming on the mind. They're not our thoughts. We need to stop buying into them. It's like a salesman coming to the door, knocking on the door and trying to sell you something you don't want. Don't buy it.
Exactly.
Just do not buy those.
So that's...
shift your attention, shift your focus. Think about, you know, your I think about me. I bring the face of my grandchild to mind and see her smiling face. Think of one of the cats, my wee dog, you know, whatever it takes to shut your focus and your attention. Focus on your breath. Take your attention to your breath, to your tongue. Whatever you need to do it, but don't give it credence.
Yeah, with me over the last week and a half, I will be working up pretty early and doing what I, you know, listening to stuff and what have you, trying to get my day started. And then I'll find that after a few hours, I'm pretty much drained. So I have to go and of course I put something on to meditate with, you know, information, because whether I'm, you know, there or not, I'm still getting the info. I'm such a truth whore.
Of all the things that's gone wrong in the world since you were asleep and woke up.
You know,
that every morning I with my coffee, it's just there. I can't, you know, sometimes can't make it go away, but it's there, you know.
You know, and what Trace was saying earlier about work and stuff, and, you know, going out and, you know, I am out everywhere. You know, and again, I don't deal in a physical aspect here, because I know that what I do, and I love listening to the net result of all of what we're doing, and this is what we're doing right now. We're getting to hear what we're accomplishing together, you know. And again, my position's a little different, you know. I'd love to be able to just, you know, pop out and, you know, do shows here and there, and, you know, I used to make some pretty good money at it. But one, I have my own abhorrence to, you know, cash in general, and only what I need. And at the other side of it too, being a target of interest, it's not a good thing to be high profile in terms of, you know, being somewhere and have all, you know, attract all the wrong entities, right? Because at least, well, I know. Hey, it's not like they're going to come anywhere near me anyway. But
you don't want to voluntarily insert your head here, you know. But place head here,
right?
So we can chomp.
And I'll tell you, the only thing that stops me from doing that is because I know in my heart I have something important to give everyone, and for me to do anything for myself in that regard is absolutely selfish. I will not put myself in any positions of potential, because here's the thing, it's not what I think, it's what others around me think. And I got to tell you, I was talking with a friend there, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, I was out a few times this week, but I hadn't seen him in a year, and the fear that was oozing out of him was turning my stomach. And he would say, oh, you haven't got a license? And no. I said, and you got a, and he started mocking up all this shit. And I'm thinking, is it your intent to harm me?
Yeah. It's almost like they can't be around you then. It's almost
and that's the problem, because for me, I'm coming up against everyone else's fear porn, and I can transmute stuff pretty quick, but I'll tell you, when you have people that have been so ingrained in the system and have no idea really who they are, and they're still chasing the bucks and all the rest of it, for whatever reason, they're still, babes in arms, really. But if I make agreement to go into communication or be in association, I'm bringing that into my universe, and I will not control theirs.
Absolutely.
But I'm also at effect to it if I'm part of it. I know that might be a difficult concept for people to get, but.
Before we go, I did get that download, the upload on the, what did you title it? Because I haven't read it yet.
Oh, I Who Shall Not Be Named?
Right. I'm going to read that tonight.
Yeah.
And I know, I somehow get the feeling that if you had put that out 100 years ago, they would have come forth to you and hung you. But
probably.
But see, that's the difference now. See, it's, and I know Santos used to enlighten us stuff that they used to do to people that, dare challenge the system and cut the tongues and.
Well,
that was real. That was real.
Yeah, you're the program virus. You see, there's a program running here, and the program runs just fine as long as all the little players are doing exactly what the one that's running the joystick wants them to do. But then all of a sudden, we show up, and we become the
entrainment. That is the entrainment. The human training. That is the best.
I mean, become a kink in the gears of the motors.
A very polite.
Going in the air.
Yeah, a very polite curtsy to this masterful plan that they put together. I'm in awe of it. It is stunningly intricate and beautiful. Credit where credit's due.
Excellent.
Hey, Kate.
Well,
yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is Tracy. I didn't mean to butt in.
That's okay.
I just want to say I so agree. It wasn't the most brilliant plan. I mean, it's brilliant how they did it. But what's also interesting is how brilliant are we
to have figured it out.
We could figure it out. Exactly. Yeah. And I wanted to explain something to Carol. This is a great call. I agree with Carol. This was so nice. But I think I might be able to word it differently. The etheric part of where one mind affects the whole mind. Just when you do something and you physically and literally change the system, which you did do, and you also do it in the etheric, and so is Carol, and so is Steve.
Everyone.
And I think, right, but I think people get lost in the forest or the trees and can't see the forest because they're in their own thing. So they can't see the whole picture of how it changed, why they have to keep changing their rules and stuff. It is very hard to see when you're down in the trenches like that. So everybody's actually agreeing, is what I was trying to say. And when you affect one thing, you do affect the whole thing.
You are the butterfly, the tsunami-creating butterfly, every single one of you. And that's why I say a great big thank you, because I get to be the culmination, the net final result of everything in my life that I have experienced. And guess what that is? You.
Me. And I get to see my mirror the same way. With all, like, these calls are so wonderful because we all felt so alone. And my first communication with you, I told you that we were all coming to the banquet. The banquet is set, and we get a share now.
Yep.
And that's all that's happening.
For a long time. And everything's still warm.
Great. Yes.
The wine is still chilled and it's dealcoholized, by the way, and everything is still warm. It's perfect serving temperature. And it will be that.
All of us when we sit at the table, and I'll be there tomorrow to eat.
Absolutely, and to feed.
Yes.
That's the thing is and we got about I'd say about a minute and a half left here. So if we go off, you'll know what happened. But I can't say thank you enough to everyone.
No, same here.
You're making the difference. It's not me. This is yours. This is ours. We do this together. And all I'm ever going to try to do is convey my experience, and my experience is you, right back, just to see where. And you can gauge yourself in this game. That's not my job. I have a mirror of my own that I have to look in and say, did I make a difference in the world today? Damn straight. And it has to be damn straight every night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Regardless of how I feel, what I'm going through, everything else, I'm a tenacious, stubborn Irish bitch. I will pull the tights up.
Amen. Thank God. Thank God.
I'm an Irish male asshole.
There you go, and then you're one of us.
Well, I'm an Irish babe here. So.
Well, there you go.
And there's an Irish bitch right here too. We're all there.
And here's the thing. Tonight we can take our doggy bags and snack on some more stuff, which will be the epiphanies after the show. And we'll continue this on